Yes, this is Saturday morning. Merry Christmas, everybody. And a Merry Christmas to you as well. From the Marvel Universe, not one, not two, but three Spider-Man, not to spoil it if you haven't seen it. But if you haven't, why not? Get out there. It's the New Blerd Order. Let's talk about it. Hey. All right, man. Hey, listen. Let's just keep it real. It's the holiday season. Yes, it is. So while you're opening up your Christmas presents or lack thereof, while you're shaking those gift cards or those cards to see if there's any gift cards in them, while you're sitting there with the eggnog and the mac and cheese that you still ain't finished from Thanksgiving, rewarming it up like we know, we see what's going on in that kitchen. We was checking out Spider-Man No Way Home. We have all seen it. I am happy to say we are joined today by everybody from the cast. We're gonna go ahead and go around the world and say what's going on. Starting with Yazzie. What's going on, Yazzie? How art thou? Everything good?
Hey guys, everything's good in the hood. Merry Christmas! Hope everybody has a happy holiday season with your loved ones.
Indeed. Ty, big bad Ty. Bricks, what's popping, bruh?
What's good, man? Still fucking early. This
dude over right, he act like he just now found out it's morning time. Like it's morning time. That's cool though. We got Ty, we got good Tyrone up in NY. What's going on, man?
What up? Merry Christmas. Good to see everybody. Happy holidays. Enjoy your day. Presents and food and eggnog and all the stuff that Vince said. Cosign.
Are you at the bus station? Where are you right now?
The train.
Oh no, I'm on the N train.
You're on the N train.
If I wanted to go and help out Kate and Clint and their Rockefeller shenanigans, this is the train that I would take, and it's the train that they took.
He's been there 2 weeks. He's already sounding like one of them. All right, let's get off of this dude. All right, we got Steph. What's poppin', Steph?
Hey, I am coming at you live from my parents' house in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and all the comes with that.
Yes. What's up? Live from Amish country. We've got Steph.
Basically, yeah.
And the Wi-Fi to show. Man, it's interesting concept having a young black lady from Harrisburg. I'm sure there's some stories you could tell us about being in that area as a child. But
yeah,
for right now, let's get into it, man. We all now have seen the No Way Home movie, if I am not mistaken. And everybody here, I'm sure, has an opinion of what they thought about the movie. Let's just go around, get a couple words from everybody, starting with Yaz. Yaz, couple words. You like it? Did you not? What you think about the movie? Real quick.
Epic and phenomenal.
Epic and phenomenal. Steph, what about you?
Hated it until I loved it.
Oh my gosh, I love you.
Tyrone, what's your thoughts, brother?
Loved it until I loved it some more.
All right, cool. And Ty Lee, man, what's going on?
Oh man, the best. I think that's fair. That's a fair. The best.
Wow. Well, I will add to that and say, of course, I loved it. And hold on, let me preface that by saying I have not loved every Spider-Man movie before you go out there and just call me biased. All right, I'm not completely sold on Homecoming. I was not a fan of Spider-Man 3. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 needed work. So don't give me this whole, well, yeah, he's Spider-Man. Yeah, I know. But this movie, honestly, I believe takes the cake, and I have some thoughts. But before we get into what I thought about it, yes, why'd you love it? Why'd you like it so much? And I'm really interested to hear at what point did Steph? Oh, we've crossed the threshold. She had like a whole moment from the with Kane. But yes, you first, man. Talk to us because I think you was one of the first ones to see it anyway. Your thoughts, please.
I was from start to finish. I thought they did a phenomenal job. The storyline, the action, just everything that was involved, even down to like the end credit scenes. It was phenomenal. Like it was a game changer for Spider-Man. That's the best way to say that. It was a fucking game changer, and I loved how we literally had almost every single bad guy that like, has been in the last couple like movies and even before, like we literally combined every bad guy from the 3 movies and they all got their redemption. That was kind of stellar. Even Andrew Garfield got redemption. So I don't know. I really liked this movie. I thought it was very interesting though how I don't know, Electro came back with hair instead of instead of the comb over. I thought that was like really interesting on that, because like Otto looked the same and so did Doc Ock and so did Sandman, but he got a whole new, you know what I'm saying? Like just like a whole new like he got pretty. I didn't get that. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. So other than that, I thought it was a great movie and the end credit scene like really blew my fucking mind. And I was dumb excited to see that one of the characters from What If will be joining us in the MCU.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was great. And also, if you guys really peeped it at the second end credit scene, someone from Ted Lasso just joined the MCU too. Shout out to him, by the way.
Yes, Danny Rojas. You saw Danny Rojas. Yeah, I thought I was the only one in the theater screaming like Danny Rojas.
I was like, looking at me like, what the fuck? I was like, yo! Yeah.
I'm intrigued about that one too, man. That was interesting. My man, my mutual optimist, big bad but big better. Hold on, which one of y'all is Bad Ty? Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Good Ty. The one that's in New York right now, where Spider-Man is. What are your thoughts, my man? What's good?
Yeah, no, I thought they just nailed it in every way they could have. It was surprisingly emotional. I was very very impressed by how heavy it was at times, and not only how heavy the story was, and the the dialogue and the scenes, but Tom Holland, Zendaya, I forgot the actor who plays Ned. Like they were so. They had this great chemistry that was really on display in this third movie, and it was it was touching to see. We got a that your spoilers, they're gonna be spoilers, but like we got that goodbye scene that was like I haven't seen a sad goodbye a goodbye scene that sad since like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. You know what I mean? Like that was it was deep and emotional. But Tom Holland absolutely killed it. It was cool to have all 3 on the same screen, so you could say, all right, like look at their differences, look at their similarities, the way that they interact with each other and stuff. I got a deeper appreciation for Toby and Andrew during this movie. I think it made the movies that came before it even better. So I'm, I couldn't have been happier with this movie. And then how is this movie going to make all the other movies better? I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah. Good points. All good points. Ty, Bad Ty, your thoughts, man?
I said it was the best for a reason. I think the level of detail that I'm seeing that Kevin Feige I don't know if Kevin Feige wrote this, my bad. Or directed it, produced this. But the way the level of detail. I'm gonna talk about a part of the movie that a lot of people it probably didn't really resonate, but these are the type of things that like really impress me when I watch a movie. So when he went to go meet with the lady who was like I guess part of registration for MIT.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when he rolled into his suit, from having the costume, his Spider-Man costume on, and then did his little roll, and then he has the suit on. Did you guys not notice how wrinkled that suit was?
Yeah.
Those type of details, and for me, drive me like insane when it's like, yo, for somebody to really take the moment to realize that if he's in a rush if he's jumping around, if he's doing all of these things like that, then he's not going to pull up in a 3-piece, suit that with no wrinkles and looks like, it's fresh out of the cleaners. Those details for me, little things like that, shows that the director is going for a realistic feel, even though this is a fantastical film. It's still it those little parts, being from up north and living in New York and living in New Jersey and living in all of these cities, you start to see things that are going on in relationships and how people move and everything like that are so integral that you're just like, wow, like he really took time to make sure that these things represented the right way. And the acting, all of the cast, everything you could imagine and want in a film, they gave you. The storyline was absolutely marvelous. I see why they called it No Way Home, because this actually, for me, feels like a new beginning. And there is no going home. It is more like I'm starting brand new. I have my own place. I'm doing my own thing. I'm single again. There's a lot of things that's gonna pop up, man. And it's just like I was in the movie just going crazy.
Oh man, yeah, and not just about the germs that you were sharing, because that's normally what you go crazy about.
I was masked up.
You super masked up.
The whole movie.
Quick context. Remember, when we first started this, Ty was, I will never go to a movie theater ever in my life. Like, I don't care. I don't give a damn if it's every Avengers movie at once.
He said certain movies he'll go to the theater for.
Oh man, I remember him being completely anti. Nah, bro, nah. He was hardcore. I will go to my living room for my movie theater. Fuck the rest of this bullshit. He was against us. Yes, remember he was like, "Oh yeah, y'all enjoy that. I got my 85-inch screen TV here. Yeah, I mean, that's all I need.
And I still do.
If I want to get food, I go to the fridge." You know what I'm saying? And now
he said, if you catch me at the theater, it's a scroll imposter. It's not even me. Get him.
You know what I'm saying? And now this dude is catching everything. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm here for it, though. Steph, our Amish treat, Amish delight, what's going on up there? How'd you feel about it, Mama? I know you've seen it a while ago, too. I know. And give us this interesting transition from hatred to love, and walk us through that whole thing if you could, Miss Ma'am.
So first of all, Peter Parker was getting on my damn nerves. Okay, you keep trying to talk during the spell. Let Doctor Strange do what he's doing. This is important. Shut up, Peter. That really annoyed me. But okay, like, you're a teenager, you're nervous. I can accept that as kind of making sense how that went down. The part that got me was, okay, villains are showing up. Villains who try to kill people who you need to capture and get rid of. You realize that you send them back, they're gonna die. And so what? That's what's supposed to happen. I hated the plot. Like, I hated the plot so much. We're going to risk our lives, kill more civilians, F up New York City so that murderers don't have to die? Okay, first of all, young man, how dare you? The Spider-Man of the other multiverses decided that these men needed to die. They need to die. Who are you, Tom Holland, to decide that you know better and need to save their lives? The audacity. The audacity. Like, I really was annoyed. Like, who are you? So I hated it. I hated everything about it. I was ticked off. And then I saw my Spider-Man. Okay. Listen, when Youth Pastor Tobey Maguire came on screen, I was like, oh, all right. It was all worth it. Whatever happens next, I'm in. Like, the most illogical crush probably of my entire life. But Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, just, I'm so into it. So after that, they had me, and I was all in for everything.
What?
Yeah.
We got to elaborate more on this.
It's, he is my Spider-Man. Like, Tobey Maguire was my exposure to
your expression.
Spider-Man in the Marvel universe. So we got Andrew Garfield, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, we go into the place. Oh my God. Am I gonna see Toby? Is Toby gonna be in this movie?
Right.
He came up. Listen, I just like.
I can't with you.
Yeah.
You're
Toby,
adorable.
Listen, when they stabbed him, I said, oh! I was the only person in the theater to react. My audible gasp was so loud.
It was it's Tobey Maguire. That's
I know. It makes no sense. Based on me and everything you know about me, you would never guess. But if Tobey Maguire showed up in my house right now, like, I'd be sorry, guys, I have to go. Like,
wow.
It's inexplicable. It's just, but as Spider-Man specifically.
What is it that you dig so much about Toby? If I could ask, like, what?
Yeah, what comes in your short and curlies? Like, what is it?
I think maybe it's just the nostalgia. Like, I was a teenager when those movies came out, and so like he was like, that was my Spider-Man. He always will be my Spider-Man. So
is this like a teacher fantasy or something, like coming to life?
I think maybe. I don't know. I really can't explain it. It just, Tobey Maguire does it for me, and
until he starts taking his clothes off, and then he doesn't.
You're right. I'm not sure if
this conversation has turned Yaz into a Freudian psychologist. Like, go on. Let's talk more about this teacher thing.
I'm just trying to understand this complex, because we all know Stephanie and we all love Stephanie because of just how awesome Stephanie is, and like I'm sorry, like, I'm gonna die about this for like the rest of the fucking week. Tobey Maguire is like, your schoolgirl crush. I'm like,
yes,
wow. Those emojis that, like, the brand's like, oh, that just happened to me like during this whole conversation. It was great.
I know this man is 5'7.5". I know, because I Googled how tall is Tobey Maguire to see like what would it look like if we're standing next to each other or slow dancing. Like, I'm taller than this man.
It looked like Tom Holland and Zendaya next to each other. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. Zendaya walked so I could run. So, you know what I mean? Toby, if you watch this, holler at, you know what I mean? I'm here for it.
In the DMs, but just, keep the suit on,
I'll say this. I would love to see the verses with you and Ned's grandma, because apparently she got the hots for Toby too, and I would pay good money for that pay-per-view to see you and Ned's grandma square up, winner take all. Toby.
Now, I'm trying to understand, like, if it's the infatuation with this, if this is just basically nostalgia, or if it's an actual Tobey Maguire thing. It sounds like it could have been anybody that played Spider-Man back then, but Tobey just happened to be the guy who was playing Spider-Man. That's what it sounds like.
No, I really think he was the perfect fit for it. Like, his earnestness is just different. He's just such a believable Spider-Man to me. Like, all the terrible choices the superheroes have to make in order for the plot to be interesting, I just feel like he's done it in a way that is more believable than any other Spider-Man. Like, Tom Holland, he's cute, but like he just sometimes he just does stuff that doesn't make sense. He just gets on my nerves. I'm like, this is dumb. But Toby, it's just something about the way he portrays it. I'm like, you're right. I can see why you made that choice. Like, I get you.
I think Stephanie's like reliving the Spider-Man like 3 one, when he's like dancing, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my shit. You know what I mean? Right now, when she's thinking of Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man, she's like black suit dancing down New York City, just put his outfit on, his Spider-Man outfit on. I'm right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, listen. I think that we do share an affinity for Tobey Maguire. You and I have said on record and will repeat that I believe that Tobey Maguire is the best Peter Parker out of all of the Peter Parkers. As for the Spider-Man, I mean, that's a little different. I mean, you go back and it's a little cringeworthy watching Spider-Man swing completely sideways, under some buildings, and some of the fight scenes, they kind of look Mighty Morphin Power Ranger-ish. But Toby got a lot of slack, man. As dope of a Spider-Man guy, as dope of a Peter Parker he is, he makes just that much worse of a public citizen.
You're messing up my fighting senses!
Oh my God, Toby!
Are they enlisting you for Spider-Man 7 yet?
I want to be a Spider-Man 4, Toby!
Let him go, you can't see!
We got you blocked.
Let him go, you can't see! You can't block him in, guys! It's against the law!
Go!
No.
You guys need to back up, I can't see the cars!
Okay, back up, guys. You can't see the cars.
They got the fuck out of the way! I can't see! There are cars there, motherfucker! Get out of the way!
They're stopped for you, dude.
We're blocking the cars for you.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
I like Toby more now. You're like, get the fuck out of the way.
Now,
Yeah.
go wrong there. I thought you were gonna go the other shit.
Like that was
What was the problem there?
Should he be getting slack? I mean, he's had multiple incidents like this in which he's basically told the paparazzi, full Kanye style, like, back the fuck up off me. And this is what he's getting a lot of hate for in the public spectrum. I personally don't see where he's really, really, really wrong, with the exception of the fact that you're mad that he didn't humbly say, "Dear sir, would you mind if you could step back away from the car, sir? My lady friend and I would like to exit the building in which we're residing, sir, please." He was like, "Yo, listen, motherfucker." Like, he got full gangster. He went full TWA, Toby with an attitude. He was not playing around. He was like, "Yo, get the fuck back." I'm surprised the symbiote didn't take over him at that moment. But other than that, that's what they're saying, that he's hard to work with. They're saying that it's, that things got difficult, that he's evidently, some people's calling him an asshole for incidents such as this. I don't know if it's warranted or not, but did he play that part of Peter Parker better than any other Peter Parker? I agree. I think that he absolutely did. But I'm questioning whether or not it's him playing Peter Parker that made it so dope, or if it's Sam Raimi, the director and writer's depiction of Peter Parker in those first three Spider-Mans, that actually made it as earnest as you say. Because let's be real, Sam Raimi was a big Spider-Man fan. He wrote and directed the first few, and he made the Peter Parker that we saw on the screen come to life. And I think that's what made it so special. I think the combination of the two is what it was. But I agree with you. Just to see them on screen, listen, let's just cut the bullshit. We are fans, right? When we saw Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, the first one, when he hopped through the portal that Ned made, I lost my shit, and I knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like we knew it was coming, but just to see the way he like walked through, you know what I'm saying, and like crept in, and then he took his mask off, and then Zendaya was like, "Well, prove it you," and he's like, "It's like
this is enough."
Well, no, crawl around. And then Nana, and then Mama was like, "Yo, look, did he get the spider?" Like, everything we wanted was in this movie: the humor, the heart, the love. I would say that there's a few things, if we could go over a few things that some folks may have missed. I don't know if you peeped this or not, but there was a brief scene where there was a little foreshadowing. Did you all peep Betty Bryant, who is now a full-fledged reporter? Did y'all peep that? Remember, the last installment, her and Ned got into it on the airplane. Remember, they had like a whole relationship. And then next thing you know, they like broke up at the end of it or whatever.
Right.
But in the comic books, Ned and Betty are like a legit real thing, and actually grow on to get married. So the foreshadowing that we saw for the comic book fans, they see the continuity from the books to the screen, which I believe makes for a good show. Makes for a good story being told, because now we can look forward to whatever the hell is happening with Ned, and whatever the hell is happening with Ned. does somebody want to delve into whether or not Ned is now officially a wizard? Because we saw him use some wizard-like powers without any wizard-like training. And if there's any complaint I may have, I'm not a big fan of when novices do expert shit too quickly. You know what I'm saying? So
I have a theory about this.
Okay.
Maybe he's like he doesn't know it, but like somehow he's maybe like a descendant of like the 10 rings or something like that. That's why he can do that. You know what I'm saying?
Because he's Asian. It's basically is what we're saying here.
I mean,
maybe
both of those things kind of connect, though.
I mean, because they're Asian.
Ned's Filipino.
I mean, listen, if it looks like a bird, it squawks like a bird. It flies like a bird. Is it a fucking bird? It's a bird.
Well, I think
they're different kinds of birds.
Yeah, I think that Shang-Chi is Chinese. And I think that I'm getting. I don't know what language that was, but it felt like Portuguese. For some
I thought
strange
it was Tagalog.
Tagalog. Okay, something like that. I didn't even. It sounded. I heard Latin words, and I automatically go to Spanish and Portuguese. It wasn't Spanish. But yeah, I mean, that's possible. I mean, maybe all Asians are wizards in the MCU. I don't know, but he definitely, it didn't take too much for him to, to bring Andrew Garfield into the fold. Am I tripping, or was that something that I thought was a little pretentious? Maybe
they alluded to, Ned's grandmother telling him that they have magic in the family, which is, which you could, in any other movie outside of the Marvel universe, you would just be like, okay, whatever. Like, that's, sometimes people believe shit like that. You know what I mean? But in the Marvel universe, you have to be like, okay, she just told us something.
Right.
Okay, exactly.
Just like how in Hawkeye, when Maya's dad was talking about dragons, like, that could be a metaphorical conversation in any other universe, but in the Marvel universe, he knows about dragons. You know what I mean? So it's like we have to take those things and be like, all right, they're giving us a hint here. So I really do believe that, we'll find out more about, there being some point in Ned's family's past where, there's somebody or something that would have given him this ability, and the sling ring was the thing that that helped it manifest. Yeah. So it's, I think instead of it being like, oh, now he's magic and this is okay, I think it was more of there's going to be more Ned in the future, and who knows, this may be the beginning of his villain turn.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, because there was some foreshadowing on that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Maybe his family could be from Talo or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's connected. Got magic in the family.
I could see it. I mean, I'm here for it. I mean, Ned, I think he's kind of flown under the radar a little bit, but I mean, he's got some Harry Osborn characteristics that we haven't really explored, other than the fact that there's nothing, we haven't seen anything other than evil. I mean, than earnest and benevolence toward him. What was y'all's? Did y'all have any favorite parts? Now we already know that when they did reveal the two new Spider-Man, the two older Spider-Man, that was probably going to be the highlight. But outside of that, were there any other parts that did like come to life for y'all? I will go first real quick. One of my favorite parts was when when we got the revitalized Jamie Foxx, and he was standing there and he's like, see, I just ain't gonna act like I'm saying see, I'm gonna act like I ain't standing here butt ass naked. You know what I'm saying? I like that they made Electro Jamie Foxx this time. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I mean.
Yes.
Because he was Max Dillon in Amazing Spider-Man 2. And they kind of let him, you could tell that they gave him some room to just be Jamie, you know what I'm saying? To be the comedian that he is, and to bring some more levity. That was one of my favorite parts. The revitalizing of Jamie Foxx's character, Max Dillon as Electro. I don't know, Ty, you just saw it. I think you saw it the most recently, so it's probably fresh on your head. Was there any scenes that just stuck out to you that was just like, yo, boy, that was crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think you. I mean, I really can't disagree with the scene you're referring to when Andrew popped up and Toby popped up. I think it just from the surge that you heard in the theater when that happened, like it was like there was all
Yeah.
type of remarks. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God! Oh my
Yeah.
God! You know what I mean? So I think that moment was like just the peak. I think that there were the movie overall was a great movie. There were absolutely no lulls for me throughout the movie because it was so much that you were seeing. But as far as just memorable, I think that that moment will go down as that moment for everybody because when this is what we were wanting, this is what we needed. Marvel did a great job of just like maybe we're gonna do it, maybe we're not. I guess you have to
Yeah.
come to the movies and see and listen. They got us because
Yep.
when we got there, we were all on the just sitting in our seat like waiting. I think I know me, I was counting down the moments until they showed up. I was like, okay, so this next scene they gonna pull up. All right, all right. So they didn't pull up that scene. All right, cool, cool, cool. This next scene they gonna pull up. You know what I mean? It was like that. It was look, and then when they pulled up, I was like, see, I knew I knew they was gonna pull up. So that like for me, once that happened, like whatever else happened in the movie was like, you know, I was the but they gave us more. They was so just go see the movie. It's great.
I got a couple things, if I may, because I want to touch on when we were first talking about Far From Home coming out. I was somebody who was on the doubter side of bringing in the two Spider-Men, the two Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. I was like, I hope they don't do it very much. I hope if they do it, it's just a small part because I don't know if it's going to ruin the movie and stuff like that. I was so wrong, and I shouldn't have doubted because they absolutely made the movie better, made those characters better. So I just wanted to cop to that I was wrong and I shouldn't have doubted, and I should know better by now, but I did it anyway. But yeah, so happy to be wrong in that respect. But there are a couple scenes that I think were overlooked because of just how much happened in the movie, but I think are going to end up having a lot of they're going to end up coming back in really important ways in the future of Marvel. One, it's Spider-Man fighting and beating Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension was huge because I mean that's this is another one of those moments where you start to see just how powerful these people are compared to each other. And I think we're starting to really understand the power level of Spider-Man in the MCU because just like in this screenshot, when Doctor Strange separated his astral form from his physical form, he was still very much in control, which is not supposed to be the case. I mean, he blew Doctor Strange's mind a couple times in this movie, and this is one of the most powerful, Doctor Strange is one of the most powerful people in the MCU. So these kinds of things happening in this movie, you start to get a real picture of like, wow, damn, like this Spider-Man could, if he continues on and Peter Parker, this version of Spider-Man continues on the MCU, he could be a huge asset when it comes to fighting larger threats that are in and out of different realities and timelines and stuff like that, because his spider sense and his his kind of metaphysical abilities seem to be extremely powerful. Just wanted to nerd out for a minute on that shit.
Nah, yeah, you are that I'm glad you observed that, man, because sometimes we don't pay attention to that type of detail and it quickly moves. I mean, there was, like you said, so much stuff happened in this movie that I didn't even really like take the moment to let that moment stand out. Like, yo, this dude was completely conscious. And he was not, and even Strange was like, yo, hold the fuck up. Like,
yeah, he's like, how are you doing this?
Yeah. And that means a lot. And I mean, we also, listen, there's some stuff that got combed over that I think that definitely doesn't get the justice. In the opening scene, they skipped if you're listening to the banter when they're talking about how Spider-Man's identity was revealed as Peter Parker, you heard them say, some of the headlines was like, Spider-Man is taking over as the Iron Man, as taking over for Tony Stark in the leading of the Avengers, and stuff like that. Like, it was just subtly referenced. It was basically during the opening credits. but that was something that's been speculated in the internet for so long that Tom Holland's character was basically playing the role that Iron Man left him to play. So I thought that was pretty significant. Another thing is despite as much as it annoyed Stephanie, I love the fact that he was still a fucking high school kid. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, the reason why this dumbass shit was happening is because I just want my friends to go get into MIT. You know, I just want to go to school together. You just want to go to college together. Now we can't go. And like, can you please make it better? And I love it that it wasn't like some mega freaking alien out of like from some quantum realm. It's just some high school kid, you know what I'm saying, trying to get his life back. You know what I'm saying? I love the simplicity of it. And sometimes that's all we need. I think that's where Eternals lacked. It gets too complex. It's like you start making me think too much. I stop thinking, period. And in this one, they're like, yo, fuck it. Here's a dude who wants to be with his boy and his girl. And that's it. That's the underlying, that's all it is. You know what I'm saying? And that fucks up the universe. Like Doctor Strange is like, you broke the universe. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't even called MIT to even just contest. Like, first thing you do is come to the wizard's house to try to fix the whole world. You know what I'm saying? It's like, get the fuck out of my house. You know what I mean? I love the Sanctum. I love how it was snowing inside. I love that Wong is making all of these appearances in all of these different movies, kind of Spike Lee-ish.
Where the hell did he go though? Like, that's what I want to know.
Carmitage. He went to Carmitage. That's where he went. Yeah.
But he is the new Sorcerer Supreme too.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was something we don't let that be combed over. That did happen too. Yes, Steph.
Yeah, and also like they oh, my bad, Steph.
Oh, I just wanted to take a moment for Stefan Strange in the bubble jacket. Okay. Here for it. I would like to see more of that in the multiverse of
with
madness.
The cloak over it. I love
it.
And the hoops popping out. Yeah.
All of that.
He was wearing some Timbs too. Y'all didn't see if he was wearing some Timbs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he was wearing Timbs.
Yeah.
This is the Doctor Strange I want to see.
Man.
No, I do think though. I think there's more to what's happening in the Sanctum than what he let on, because he was like, oh, they left the door open in Siberia or whatever, and it's like, okay, plausible, but like there seems to be some stuff going on that they're not really in control of. You know what I mean? Like they had the people there cleaning up and everything, and the way Wong left, the way he's in the flood waters and stuff, I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like we're gonna learn really learn what's happening with Doctor Strange when we get to Multiverse of Madness. Yeah. Because there's still some things that don't exactly feel right about Doctor Strange. I know that I thought that in this movie they were going like we would find out that Doctor Strange is either possessed by somebody or it's a different Doctor Strange or whatever else, and on the surface, it seems like now we just got a Doctor Strange who was a little bit vulnerable to, this kid that he likes and was able, he wanted to help and, shit went bad. But there seems to be some other stuff happening in the background. Like I saw a really good point. Like we didn't, the only time we really saw Strange was through the perspective of the Spider-Man story, Peter Parker story. We only really saw him in those moments. And what we didn't see was, whatever was happening behind the scenes, like whenever Doctor Strange was in the mirror dimension,
right?
Whenever he wasn't engaged with Peter, what was happening in those moments? And I think that those will probably get a lot of answers to that when we go to Multiverse of Madness.
So I have a question for you guys. Did you guys take into just a notice? I know there was a lot going on and everything during the movie, but did you guys notice the clouds when the world was splitting?
Yeah. Yes.
See faces inside of the clouds.
Absolutely.
Right.
Did you look into that? Do we have any insight
as
to
what?
Yet.
Definitely saw Craven.
Definitely
saw Rhino.
Yes.
I saw somebody with a hammer or some sort of tool. I didn't know what that was.
I thought I saw somebody with a staff.
The staff was Craven.
Right.
It had the spear and the big kind of lion shoulder thing going on.
Yeah.
That was definitely Craven
and
Rhino.
Taylor Johnson, right?
I don't know if that's for sure or not, but it's I'm wondering if they if in that moment you know, they hid some really good stuff in there. I imagine that there are some very, very powerful nerds combing through every moment of that scene, looking for any clue to anything. But yeah, it was honestly like in that moment, I was like, "Don't fix it, don't fix it. I want to see what happens."
I was like, "Let him come through. I want to see it." I know.
Yeah. Well, if I may give a real quick, as we start to kind of to wrap up about Spider-Man, even though there's so much more to discuss, because we haven't even gotten to the end credits. We haven't even gotten to the villains. How I believe that this particular movie solidifies the fact that nobody can play Green Goblin like Willem Dafoe. This motherfucker's face. He was 100%. Born to play that role. Did you realize that this asshole played Green Goblin with no mask and still looked exactly like Green Goblin?
It was better. It was better with no mask.
He had no mask and still no makeup. I mean, maybe makeup, but no green. His face looked even more like Green Goblin without his mask on. Yeah. That needs to be said. But I was telling, and I'll do a quick. I just want to say real quick, Marvel Studios, bravo, well done. I want to say the word for this particular movie, the one word, and Yaz already said it earlier, and I've said it before, is redemption. The word for Spider-Man No Way Home is redemption. How do we get redemption? It's for all the Spider-Man together. Let's just keep it real. That Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire was shit. It was bad, okay? But now because we have a new Spider-Man, we can give Tobey Maguire the Spider-Man 3 he probably should have had when Sam Raimi was directing Spider-Man. We also had an amazing Spider-Man 2 in Andrew Garfield, who unfortunately lost his significant other in the movie. He lost Gwen Stacy. But guess what? In true redemption fashion, we see MJ falling to her death, and our Tom Holland can't get to her. But who comes to the rescue? None other than the Andrew Garfield, who could not save his own Gwen Stacy. And we saw that was something that really hurt him in his movie, and he actually brought that emotion to this one. There's also the redemption of Andrew Garfield getting a possible Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 3. He never did get one. And now there's talk of maybe, who knows, a lot of folks are beckoning for a Spider-Man 3 for the Amazing Spider-Man. So Andrew Garfield gets his redemption there. We also talk about the redemption aspect of Tobey Maguire, who never really truly was able to, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm sorry. Tom Holland, he was never really truly able to, like, lose something. I mean, listen, we all lost Iron Man. But this time he lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Aunt May. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, and we didn't see him lose Uncle Ben like we saw in the other movies. So this was, from what I understand, it would look like his first on-screen loss, where he actually did lose somebody that was close to him. And, you know, who knows if they'll be able to get her back or whatever, go back in time. I don't know whether or not the spell.
No, she's gone.
It doesn't seem
she's
like
gone.
it, yeah.
That speech was I feel like it was a Stan Lee kind of, you know what I'm saying, like sign off, you know what I'm saying, like, because he wasn't able to be in that movie. So I feel like that whole, you know, like, with great responsibility, you know, comes, you know, great. You know, I feel like that whole speech was like a sign off and a homage to Stan Lee, because, like, he could not. This was the one Spider-Man movie he could not be in because he's gone. Unfortunately, we lost him.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I know he wanted to, man. So I mean, there's redemption all over the place, man. But ultimately, the biggest redeemer, I think, is the Spider-Man fans, who for the first time get a part 3 of a Spider-Man movie that doesn't suck. All right, we didn't get it for the first one. We didn't get it Spider-Man 3 for the second one. And now we have all 3 characters from all 3 movies. And they didn't parse words. One of my favorite parts of this was when they sat and discussed the differences in their Spider-Man ship. How they're like, yo, wait a minute, that shit comes out of your body? You know what I'm saying? Like, wait. So and Toby's like, yeah, like, how do you guys do it? And I love that, you know, they're about to get into it, and Tom's like, we don't got time for that right now.
Right.
Perfect, Marvel. Perfect way to not cover it, Marvel, but to bring it up so that you realize, like, we all get it. And I thought that was hilarious. It's like, does it come out of
Anywhere else?
Does it come out of all parts of your body or whatever?
Disgusting.
And I was like, all right,
Yeah.
man, Kiki, cover your
If
ears.
you're shooting,
Yeah, I wanted to address the Amazing Spider-Man 3 stuff and the Andrew Garfield stuff because
Please.
I think that what they may have done for the Sony verse or whatever we're calling it is give us a plausible Spider-Man for like the Morbius movie or whatever other movie comes out that's Sony specific. Now that there's this other Spider-Man still in action,
Carnage, right?
you could have a situation where he shows up without having an entire other Spider-Man movie. So there's a possibility that we'll see more of him. I don't think anybody would be mad at it.
So you're saying that they could have a Morbius movie with Andrew Garfield in it as Spider-Man, and nobody's going to be mad at it because that's the universe that he exists in.
Yeah, or even Toby, because in the Morbius trailer we saw Sam Raimi Spider-Man, kind of the picture on the wall or whatever. It was, and it said murderer on it. So there's a possibility that we may see these guys show up. But it's it's there. All the possibilities are there. I'd be surprised if we saw an Amazing Spider-Man 3. But hey, and I guess if enough people are asking for it, then those dollar signs start to look pretty good.
I don't know. Garfield looked better in that suit than he did a couple years ago. Just saying.
and let's be clear. The setup is already in motion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the next movie is called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
This is literally the door opening to all possibilities. So I think that's something that we got to take into consideration looking forward as far as how these Spider-Man transition over into the universes and whatnot.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Tyron.
Oh no, just whenever we finish this point, we've been talking for 45 minutes about Spider-Man, about this movie, and we haven't even mentioned that Matt Murdock showed up in the damn movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Word.
We haven't even touched on it. You know what I mean? Like that's how much shit has happened in this movie. Like that we're just now being like, oh yeah, by the way, Daredevil from the Netflix shows showed up in this movie, making him MCU canon.
Yes.
And he did a superhero thing too, where the brick came through the wall and he caught that shit.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was like, "How did you do that?"
Yeah. He's a really good lawyer. Yeah, that was a really good scene. And I love it. And it we were talking about on another show how Matt Murdock as well as Vincent D'Onofrio have solidified themselves as the characters to the point, kind of like Iron Man, you can't see nobody else play that role.
Right.
Like when Ben Affleck did it, we was like, please, for the love of God, anybody else, anybody play this role. But when Charlie Cox does it, we're like, holy shit, like this dude looks exactly like even when he doesn't have his glasses on, like the way he doesn't look at people makes him look even more like Matt Murdock.
Right.
And he's so credible. And you gotta love Marvel for giving us those few scenes where we get those quick quips and those Easter eggs. So we gotta talk about some of the stuff that was obvious though. Let's talk about some of the stuff that was obvious. There was a clear attempt to bridge the Venom movie and this Spider-Man movie in the end credit scene. At the very end of the movie, if you were a dumb fuck and got up and left as soon as the movie was over, then you're clearly not a Marvel fan, because Marvel fans watch the end to every credit. I mean, we gotta wait till the curtain comes down. Like
lights on.
You have to be escorted out. And when they started talking the series, when they started going into the credits, the very first end credit scene, if I'm not mistaken, was with Venom.
Yeah.
And with them discussing how they are going to bring the Venom character into he's kind of in the MCU now, but like how they're going to get him to New York, which is where he should have been from the beginning. So I'm a little curious about this because I don't know if this is propping us up for a Venom 3 or a Spider-Man 4 or both, or how we're to look forward to that. You know what I'm saying? So what's up, Tyron?
I have thoughts on that. Imagine that. I have thoughts on that. I do. What I think they set up perfectly actually was, if they wanted to continue Venom the way they've been doing it, they can do that. Sony can do that without rubbing up against the MCU. And because we got that little glob of symbiote that was left on that bar,
Mm-hmm.
we can now get an MCU Venom that is not related to Tom Hardy, not related to anything that has happened in San Francisco or in that universe, because he went back there and he's still got the symbiote in him. Like he's back, and he's not part of, he's not in this universe anymore. But when that little bit of black goo got left on that bar, that was them saying, hey, it's happening. It's gonna happen. And it's gonna happen the way it should have happened, in the first place. This symbiote, this little glob of black goo is like, I gotta go find the Spider-Man dude.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we get. And so I thought that was the absolute best case scenario, that we don't have to deal with that Venom in the MCU.
Why you hating on my man?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I don't know if maybe we're being a little presumptuous, because we don't know necessarily that he left that universe. He could have left that space where he was at and went, like he could have been in wherever he was at and then been in Los Angeles. We don't know, where they moving him.
So when he disappeared the same way the other villains and the other Spider-Man disappeared when Doctor Strange finished his spell. So that was everything getting returned to its previous universe. It was the same exact disappearance was what happened. So and the only thing that was different was that a little piece of him got left behind.
So you're saying that what we saw in the last Venom movie was the moment when Doctor Strange, at the end credit scene, is the moment when Doctor Strange and Peter, messed up the spell.
Yes. So it looks like what they're trying to get across is that when the spell was messed up, that kind of gave the Venom enough of an opening to get into this universe, because apparently the symbiotes can travel between the multiverse. So that was what got him to that bar, what got him out of that Sony verse in the first place. So he's sitting there catching up, talking, drinking, whatever. And this is where he learned about Spider-Man's identity. He learned about Spider-Man, about Peter Parker and stuff. And then in that moment, when Doctor Strange finished the spell, then everybody who knew about Peter Parker's existence, their stuff gets reset. And then, of course, because he's not even from this universe, Tom Hardy gets sent back to his universe once the spell is finished. So it's that his part of this happened in a very short span of time. He shows up, he's kind of like catching up on what the hell's going down, and then he's like, oh shit, before I even got a chance to party, here I am going back to whatever Sonyverse this is. So but of course, leaving that little piece of symbiote to where we can actually get the Venom we should have had this entire time.
But don't trip though, because where it seems like Tyrone is describing one synopsis where there's a Venom in the new MCU, he's actually describing two, because when Tom Hardy gets sent back as Eddie Brock to his universe, he still don't know who the fuck the Spider-Man in his universe is. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
he doesn't know. He no longer knows the existence of Peter Parker.
Well, yeah, but Spider-Man and Peter Parker are not the same. Everybody in the universe still knows who Spider-Man is. They just don't know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. So Tom Hardy, could go back and still be looking for Spider-Man as we know him.
That's
not
true.
Peter Parker.
Yep.
And this Danny Rojas from look, Danny Rojas. I love Danny Rojas.
I do too.
If you don't watch Ted Lasso, then you know what I'm saying? And
football is life.
Yeah, Danny Rojas, football is life. Football is not life. Like
yes, football is down.
You gotta watch Ted Lasso season 2, I think. Half a season, actually the half of season 1 and half of season 2. Danny Rojas is a hilarious character.
Is that the bartender? Is that who that was?
Yeah, that's the bartender.
The bartender at the very end.
Yes.
So if he ends up being one of the symbiotes, I'm here for it, man, because he is hilarious, man. I mean, I don't expect the symbiote to be hilarious, but notoriously, if you read the books, the symbiotes aren't scientists.
Right.
They're not necessarily the smartest, not all of them at least. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, so we could have now a universe where there's an Andrew Garfield that fights Tom Hardy, and then there's a Danny Rojas that fights Tom Holland. You know what I'm saying? And the way they set it up, it wouldn't even be that far fetched. I'd be a little annoyed with it because it'd be like, yo, come on, let's pick a struggle and stick with it. But they've opened up those doors. Just like, well, go ahead.
Oh no, I wouldn't expect it to be the bartender character and but you know how like symbiotes like to use people to travel, you know what I mean, like to get back and forth until they finally find the host they want,
right?
Like that kind of thing. I would expect that's going to be a case. So we might get a little bit more of him, maybe going somewhere until the symbiote needs to get on to the next person to get to New York and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we still get, we could still possibly get both Venoms for the people who like the Tom Hardy Venom, Eddie Brock, which I don't, but like, it still exists, it's still around. I've been.
You don't like Eddie Brock as Tom Hardy?
Okay, Tom Hardy does an okay job as Eddie Brock. He just hasn't had a good movie. Like it is, and that's Sony's fault. That's not.
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
Sony's fault. It's not Tom Hardy. We know Tom Hardy's a badass actor. I mean,
I love Tom Hardy.
Have you seen Capone? If you haven't, please watch it on Amazon Prime.
Well, look, I don't think we're doubting Tom Hardy's acting capability.
That's me misspeaking. Yeah.
I think we listen. We look, bruh. Need Peaky Blinders. Look no
anytime
further.
He shows up.
I'm just saying, if you loved him in Peaky Blinders, please go on Amazon Prime, watch Capone. You will have a newfound just like love for him as like a fucking crazy, creepy old mobster guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's fucking
and another thing this opens up the ability to have Tom Hardy in the MCU playing a completely different character. Because if there's going to be a new Eddie Brock in the MCU, because we don't have this other Tom Hardy Eddie Brock, then Tom Hardy the actor could potentially play some other MCU like person that we haven't, like Wolverine. You know what I mean? There are a lot of people who would love to see Tom Hardy as Wolverine,
including if I may interrupt, the director of the upcoming Wolverine movie, which has not selected a Wolverine yet. And there's a recent article that basically says that he has three choices. If he could have his perfect Wolverine, it would be either Tom Hardy, which he says, unfortunately, may not be the case because he's too old and he's been cast already. The other option is Taron Egerton, who I've already said I think that's my choice. That's my choice. And I honestly think that there's no other, like it's cleared right now that's who. And then the other one was Aaron Taylor Johnson, who we all know is Quicksilver in the MCU, not Quicksilver from the X-Men, but the MCU. And he's already Quicksilver, and he's already been recast as as Kraven the Hunter. So it just seems logical that Taron is the guy. I mean, but that's a whole other subject for another day, man. We've talked about Wolverine. We can sit and talk about that all day. The only thing outside of, I do want to commend all the villains. There's a few things that were set up. There's the potential for a Sinister Six as we start to wrap up on this. We basically saw all of these with the exception of Mr. Sinister, who would be the final member of the Sinister Six, who I actually thought they could easily, if they wanted to, they could try to morph or make the evil Doctor Strange into Mr. Sinister or some sort of character like him to kind of cap that all off. But I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But they definitely set up a Sinister Six type of situation. Was everybody pleased with the villains? I did notice that Dr. Octopus, they gave him his full mole haircut this time. You know, in all of the other movies, you know, they gave him some fancy haircut.
Yeah.
This time they gave him the mo. All right. Yeah. Which is funny. In the comics, he's always got the mo, and we want to see the mo.
Yeah.
The Lizard, for what it was worth, I mean, people didn't like him for whatever reason, but I thought the Lizard was well done in Homecoming.
He didn't have too much screen time. That's probably why.
That's true. He didn't really have a lot of screen time, and that's probably why. It might have been one of the.
He was the first one to get changed too, wasn't he? Or no, Sandman was.
Yeah, Sandman was the first one to get cured.
Yeah, speaking of Sandman, I actually was surprised that they had the actual. I thought that they were trying to keep from even having him on the screen. Like I thought they had done that thing where he was just going to be a CGI role, but they actually had the actual actor in it. So he ended up being in it. I think that Sandman, excuse me, that octopus who doesn't like seawater, evidently, which was a pretty funny scene. And Electro stole the show, with the exception of obviously Willem Dafoe. I think that the villains, we got to see how dope they were to begin with. And I don't know, it made me nostalgic and hunger for more. So I could see an Amazing Spider-Man 3, and I could see it as a standalone movie where he goes back and possibly introduces us to what I thought we were going to get introduced to this movie, to Miles Morales. I thought there was going to be more of a throw to the Miles Morales movie. All we got was Jamie Foxx's little quote. Like, I thought you were going to be black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we'll get one day. Is there a better place other than the multiverse where they open up the universe for all these other Spider-Men to bring in the concept of Miles Morales? Did they miss the ball here? Did they drop it?
I think they're just not ready for the live action yet. Like they haven't casted the right, person to play Miles Morales, so they're not going to just like give us what we want until they get everything right. It's Marvel and Sony. You know what I'm saying? Marvel's very calculated, and we know that. And like, because he is in the MCU and he's not part of Sony, he's part of, you know what I'm saying, like Disney. They're not just going to be like, oh yeah, here you go. Like they're well planning this out, because they know this is going to be the movie that so many people are going to be. It's going to be like the next Black Panther movie. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the first live action Black Spider-Man. Like, think about it. You know what I mean? They're not going to cookie cut this shit. They're going to take their time to give us exactly what we want. I mean, like, we waited how long for Wakanda? We will wait for a Black Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, trust me, we'll get him when they're ready to show him.
Yeah. You don't think, none of y'all think that, I agree with you. And I think that Marvel is very calculated. And I think that they were calculated in including him in the talk, which is where the Jamie Foxx mention came from. Right. I think it's also calculated that they had Donald Glover playing Aaron Davis, his uncle, and mentioning that he had a nephew that lived around that area.
You even talked to him on the phone.
Yeah, bro. And so, like, I'm just wondering, like, listen, Tom Holland is on record saying that perhaps it's time for him. He basically said, I can read you the article here. He says that if he's playing Spider-Man by the time he's 30, he's failed, which I think is a little pretentious. I know what he's trying to say. He doesn't want to be, the guy who, is basically, like Christopher Reeves.
But that was also like when he was trying not to spoil shit. Like, these dudes are out here straight up lying, trying not to spoil the movie. So he said so many contradictory things over the past couple months. Like, I don't even know what to believe when it comes to what's coming out of their mouths.
Didn't we just get another article saying that he did sign back on for another couple of more, like another trilogy too? Like, didn't that like leak somewhere like recently?
Yeah, there's like all kinds. Like Kevin Feige was like Spider-Man 4 is in development, but Amy Pascal was like, there's already another trilogy in development. But then they had to kind of like walk back that, and like, so it's all like, there's a lot of shit being said that can be on either side of things. So I'm just like, as soon as they announce, I'm gonna wait until like when Disney and Marvel announces, or Sony, whoever announces the next Spider-Man movie. That's when I'm like, okay, fine. But like right now, all these people are out here lying. Andrew Garfield was out there lying the whole time. Everybody was just lying. Which, again, thank you for lying. I appreciate it. But like, it was like I don't know who to trust anymore. Who do we trust?
Well,
But
go ahead, Ty. Go ahead, please.
All I was going to say is, but like I said, the next movie is going to facilitate all of that, all of these possibilities, all of these murmurs, all of these speculations, all of everything that the Doctor Strange multiverse of madness is going to pride itself on, is showing you that there are all of these different universes. Like, if you thought you knew, whatever your thought was, it's 10 times that times 10. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's kind of what we're gonna get. I believe in the Doctor Strange movie. That's gonna open that door and bridge that gap for us to do whatever. I mean, we're talking X-Men, we're talking Fantastic Four, we're talking about all of the stuff that we as comic book lovers really want to see on screen. So
does Steph have a point about the Miles part of it though?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I really, really wanted to see Miles Morales, and I totally agree with Yaz that they weren't gonna really show him because they didn't have him cast. They weren't ready, but they could have given us a little hint in the suit. Okay, they could have got somebody with the right body type, not taking off the mask, and just let us see him like swing by. To get a little
They're not
excited.
ready. We're not ready to see that live action suit. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They haven't decided on all of the final details. They're not going to cookie cut shit. They're not going to give us a form of something and then completely change it whenever they get their whole, everything together. So I'm not mad at it. I'm actually happy because it's like they're cliffhangering us, and that's what we want. I mean, like I'm gonna sit there and fucking wait for that movie because I want to fucking see it. It's Marvel. It's what they do best. They're gonna make me a junkie waiting for this because they mentioned it in a movie, and they know all of us fans we're gonna be sitting here waiting for that shit. So I mean, technically they did give us what we wanted. They just didn't give us a cameo yet, which I'm cool with because I don't want to see somebody as not what Spider-Man, like what Miles Morales is going to portray. I don't want to see a bullshit outfit. I want to see him. I want to see him fucking swinging. I want to see him talking Spanish. I want to see him fucking hanging out with his uncle, spray painting shit. You know what I'm saying? I want to see him singing, like everything. I want him to give me Miles Morales, and they can't do that without actually having him. So
I think that what they do though, what they do, I don't think that the suit or the character is needed. I think that the references, I think that they get by with just the existence. They could even put like his high school in the background. You know what I'm saying? And like, or like, one of the characters from his universe. You know what I'm saying? Or what I think that honestly, and I told Ty this before, I think that we may have missed it. We may have missed the center that's going to be where they connect these universes. And do you know what I think it is? It's the Feast Center, the center where Aunt May was working. I do believe that just kind of like they did in the video game, they can use this facility as a bridge for these two worlds because both Aunt May and Miles Morales' mom are public servants, right? So once they start, I think that what we may have seen in them integrating Feast into this movie is how they are going to establish that connection with Miles Morales and the Tom Holland Spider-Man. So we may not have gotten the universe. I mean, the actual the uniform. We may not have gotten the neighborhood or any of the actual Easter eggs, but I think that the foundation is being laid. And he said it right there. Here's the direct quote from Tom Holland himself. He says, "Look, maybe it's time for me to move on. Maybe what's best for Spider-Man is that they do have a Miles Morales film." Now, yes, I know, grain of salt, we're taking it with Tyrone because, yes, they're saying whatever it is to not spoil the film. but he is at least acknowledging outwardly that it would be nice. And Tom Holland has been getting what he's wanted in most of these scenarios.
I also think, sorry, go ahead, Steph.
That is the Zendaya effect. She got Tom Holland out here like Black Latinx Spider-Man matter. That's what that is.
I think that Marvel understands too that Miles Morales, and I don't think when we get Miles Morales it's going to be connected to any larger story. I think what they're going to do is give us a Miles Morales origin story that is centered around Miles Morales as he becomes Spider-Man. Because I think unlike Peter Parker and how he just Spider-Man showed up in Civil War and we're like, cool, we know this guy, we know his backstory, like we're good, we don't need to go over it, like this is fine. I think they know that when the live action world gets Miles Morales, it should be an origin story that gives us this character, gives us his background, gives us his family, gives us his neighborhood, that kind of thing. So I think that when we do get Miles, it will be completely fresh, completely what's the word I'm looking for, exclusive to just his own story. And I hope that's how they're going to do it. I don't think we're going to see Miles just kind of show up anywhere. Like it's going to be an event.
I disagree 100%. I disagree 100%. I understand why that sentiment exists, but I disagree, and here's why. With the exception of Iron Man, all of the major characters were introduced in another movie. None of them, with the exception of Iron Man,
Captain America, Thor.
They came out in Avengers.
No, they had their all of them had Hulk. Right. All of them had their own solo movies.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, yeah,
Doctor Strange.
Those couple.
Doctor Strange had a solo
Strange
movie.
Came out. All right, I just got. All right, so look. All right, let me walk this back and let me say shit that actually is accurate. The actual the highest grossing independent film that was not with all the Avengers together was Black Panther. Am I correct? Black Panther was not introduced to us through its own independent film. Black Panther came out in Civil War. Then he got his origin story. Even though we knew who he was, but he got his whole movie the same way. I do believe that Miles Morales will be introduced the same way. And the reason why is because unlike the other characters, Miles Morales is still embodying Spider-Man. Despite the fact that he is a newer, updated Spider-Man, he's still a Spider-Man. And we're going to want to see Spider-Man in some of these other movies. And I just think that there's no way possible that we're not going to see some end credit scene, some quick quip, some real quick reference to who Miles Morales may be. But then they use that hunger to see more of him to get him to break the box office. I think me and Ty may be on the same page. I get why you're saying like, yo, he needs his own movie and all that. And I'm not discounting that. But we're talking Spider-Man here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like Spider-Man is like, you can't not like. I just don't see. I see them using the warm transfer. Ty, don't you see?
I was going to come from a different standpoint. My standpoint is that the whole Phase 4 buildup was for this moment. To be honest, the whole Phase 4, rollout and formula was building up to this transverse like where we're just into the multiverse, like where we were just gonna go. We were like, now here's the opportunity to bring over all of the stuff that we made this merger for, was so that we could merge all of these contents, and the multiverse of madness is literally the key that fits into the door to open all of that up. So I feel like this whole Phase 4 thing is everything from this point on is gonna stay connected in some way, shape, or form. They're gonna keep it all in the same wheelhouse and keep it connected. I mean, the storylines that they have on Disney Plus that are coming out, like a lot of those, the way that they also connect to the cinematic world and the universe. So it's I think from here on out, we're going to see a lot more of these instances where a character like Miles Morales does appear in one of these movies, where we don't know, but the possibilities are endless for where you can literally put him in and then start it from there. You can do it in so many different aspects now.
Honestly, it'll be interesting to see which way they go, because we got like 3 different kinds of takes on it.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see how right I am.
Tyrone, it's interesting because I feel like that's no longer the Marvel way. Like I feel like Marvel doesn't do that anymore. Like Marvel doesn't give us independent without giving us somehow. Now Sony's the exception. But the newer, not the OG Avenger way with Cap-Am and Hulk and all them. The newer way to do it is to bring them in through some other entity, and then I still
gotta because that still doesn't track. I mean, people being new heroes being introduced in new major heroes being introduced in other movies is still the outlier. I mean, it's still the outlier. Typically, when a new hero is introduced, whether it's it's been up until during all the Thanos stuff, during all the Avengers stuff, Yaz mentioned Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, like all of these heroes were introduced with their own solo movies, these major heroes. So it still doesn't track that we have that major heroes are now going to be introduced purely through these team ups and the portals and things like that. I don't think that's going to be a way that they do it. I mean, we've got Moon Knight coming, we've got She-Hulk coming, all of whom are coming in their own into the universe in their own projects. Now we have a Miss Marvel show. which will give us Miss Marvel, and then we have the Marvels movie, which will give us all of the combination of who is it? Tiana Paris is her name, right? Yeah, and then of course Kamala Khan. So like we'll have that movie, but so far everything that we've been getting, Shang-Chi got his own solo movie before anything happened there. So I mean, it's still, we're still getting solo movies. They're just, and they connect loosely like the way Shang-Chi did. There is a connection. They like to bring them in credit scenes or in little moments, but still the MCU way is still to give us these very detailed, very exclusive, introductions to new characters.
I don't know. I think that they do both ways.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I think the way you're talking about is the outlier. It's the historically speaking, so far, given the stuff that we have, the way that you're talking about is the less used way. And the more used way is to give us major heroes with their own. I can list a bunch.
Well, no, with regard, I mean, I'm looking down the line, and you're right. Guardians of the Galaxy, there was no precursor. You know what I'm saying? There was no precursor to, the
Ant-Man, Captain Marvel, any of the Avengers.
The Captain Marvel, I take
Captain Marvel
because they
had the pager.
Him with the pager,
but it was
that was. But that's now. It just for the record, that type of subtle hint is what we're talking about for Miles Morales, and sometimes that's all it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter.
No, I mean, we've gotten a few of those. Then I mean, we got Aaron Davis with Miles, those kind of things. Yeah,
right. We would have taken
a few of those. Yeah.
It would have been dope to see a spray painted Spiderman somewhere on a wall as he flew over Brooklyn. Like an additional. All we were saying is maybe we would have appreciated an even stronger head nod towards him. That was a little more definitive, but hey, it leaves the room open for future movies, I suppose. And I will definitely say that as pertaining to the future movies, the overwhelming majority of the ones that I think we're about to start seeing, like with Multiverse of Madness, we were introduced to Wanda not through her own movie, but through her own show, which we originally got her through the Avengers. We were introduced to this new Captain America and Falcon and Winter Soldier, who's going to be the new Captain America through the event. So I mean, I think it does have both options, so to speak. The outlier, I don't know. I think if we go down the shows and the movies themselves, I think it might be kind of even. I don't know. It just depends on who all we count as characters.
Go on. We're in debate mode now. I like debate mode.
Black Widow wasn't introduced to us. I mean, we were introduced to her through she ended up getting her movie after being introduced through the Avengers. Hawkeye again.
No. Time out. Black Widow was technically introduced to Iron Man movie.
You're right, but not her own movie.
Right.
All right, but not through her own movie. Okay. And I mean, if there's a War Machine movie, so I mean, yeah, the OGs, absolutely, that's where they were introduced. But it just feels like the nuanced way that Marvel's been doing is to give us a taste of them in another movie, let the hype build, and then to capitalize on that hype. But
to that point that you're making, they actually have already given us that. They gave us that with the Miles Morales, Enter the Spider-Verse, and the response was huge. People were like, "Yo, we want it." So they've already put the teaser out there. The filler's been put out there. The thing that we're all kind of debating about right now is how they roll him out. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not a point of emphasis as far as if or it's just a matter of when. And right now at this point, what I've been saying is, it's dependent on the status of the superhero. So with someone as large as a Miles Morales, I after thinking about this, Tyrone may have a point. They may do him like that because you've already put out the Enter the Spider. If there was no Enter the Spider-Verse, then it would have been epic for them to have him show up on a bigger platform like a Spider-Man. But because he's already established himself as having that following, yeah, you can just do an origin story and not you don't have to put him in anybody's.
There is also a way that it works with the way the storyline's going right now, which this would actually help to support Vince's idea. But it exists in the comics. So like if I understand correctly, Miles Morales was originally he didn't exist in the same universe which Peter Parker existed. And it was only when the timelines were essentially like brought into one, kind of like mashed together, that we kept Miles Morales as MCU, continuity in what Earth 616, in that whole situation. So, if they want to follow that, it could be a situation where like, I think it would be unfortunate because I think they would miss a lot. But I feel like if Miles Morales were to just show up in some sort of multiversal way, then they could be like, hey, we're going to condense all the timelines into one because this is just too crazy. And we're also going to keep this guy. But I think that would just be, I don't think that would be giving Miles Morales the respect that he deserves.
Okay. All right. So we're rooting for Miles Morales standalone with no introduction through the MCU.
Well, that would be his introduction, just like how Shang-Chi got introduced to the MCU with just just give us a beautiful Miles Morales movie that celebrates his culture, celebrates his neighborhood, celebrates everything about Miles Morales as it stands, just himself. And then we can go crazy from there, just like they did in Shang-Chi, where like Wong shows up like, hey, guess what? You're an Avenger now. Congratulations. And then boom, we're off to the races.
Right. Okay. All right. I'll back off. I
did it with the Eternals. I just did it with the Eternals, and we didn't really like. It wasn't like people were out here like, we need an Eternals movie ASAP. Like we're gonna go crazy. So I mean, after thinking about it, Tyrone does have a point. And like I said, we're talking about a Shang-Chi movie with no build up. Like they just rolled them on out and gave us a cultural representation of what goes on, and we loved it. So why not do the same thing with someone that we actually recognize? You know what I mean? With Miles Morales.
I guess I'm just so excited because we've never been this close. Like to actually having Miles Morales, like we're so close. Like it can't get no closer at this point. I mean, we've got the references with Aaron Davis through
Jamie Foxx.
Through the Childish Gambino. We've got Spider-Man being referenced basically as a black man via Electro. We've got the multiverse. It's opened up. We've got the Young Avengers on the way. I don't know if there's a Civil War 2 saga in which I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say Miles Morales and Captain America don't see eye to eye. It's everything is chopped, like the stew is warm right now. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I'm just getting hungrier and hungrier as we get closer to it.
And then we also have a new Spider-Verse movie coming out that may even change this conversation. You know what I mean? Who knows what they're going to do with this Spider-Verse movie? This might be the first time that Sony's like, hey, MCU, you want to come play in our world for a minute? So we don't know how that's going to go. But we'll see. They might be like, hey, here's the live action Miles. You know what I mean? We never know how these things are going to go. So
like cool world.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense because I was thinking the same thing. I didn't mention it because I didn't know exactly when the new Spider-Verse movie was actually going to drop. But I think
next year.
I think that's going to be very indicative of when they roll out the live action. I think if that Spider-Verse movie does huge numbers, and they're like, oh my gosh, like you know what I'm saying. The buzz that it creates is going to have Marvel Studios like, all right. I think we've waited long enough. I think it's time we roll out Miles. And at that point, we'll get our live action Miles Morales.
Well, I think we definitely are all anticipating the Miles Morales movie. We definitely all, even eventually, loved the No Way Home movie, even if it didn't start off that way. So this is a rare moment in which we all are in agreement about how dope of a movie this was. So look, with that said, Miles Morales, we can say, Miles Morales. No, see how much I'm anticipating? No Way Home is definitely a success. Dare I say, multiple viewing? Like I will go see it again. Like I would not mind even paying to see it twice. It's that good, and there's things that I want to relive And you know, so well done, man. Start to finish, no complaints. You know, even though it's a little confusing how Peter Parker. I mean, nobody knows who he is. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to get a GED at the end. Like he didn't even, he couldn't even. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a little confusing how that works. The Avengers, he's never. No, I mean, like there's so many questions now. You know,
well, where do you rate it? Where do you rate this movie on the list of Marvel movies? Like, where's this rate for you?
Well, I'm gonna put it right under. Oh, okay. All right. So now I'm gonna go in Avengers: Infinity War,
okay,
Black Panther, Spider-Man: No Way Home. You know what I'm saying? I'm still going in that order. I still think Black Panther was still. I mean, the cultural aspects of Black Panther we can't deny. And I mean, you just are like, I mean, the melanin all over the screen, and just the purple, so much purple, and I'll never again. I still think that scene from Infinity War where Maul take it from your corpse, you know what I'm saying? And they walk outside and he's freaking, you're embarrassing me in front of the Wizards. That's gonna go down as the best scene in all like that. Yo, he's like, come on, man, come on. He's not coming out right now. He's like, come on, where's your seeing as now your green friend will be visited? You know what I'm saying? Like it is Spider-Man comes out. I mean, they're in space, bro. Infinity War is the best. Balls. I mean, better than in game. It just takes the cake, man. So, and at the end, everybody was just like, oh. But that's where I put it. I mean, what about you, bro? What about you?
I mean, I want to hear everybody. Let's go around the panel, man. Let's hear everybody else, man. I'll tell you how I feel at the end, man.
Yeah. Well, Tyrone, man, what say you? You're quick with the.
It's hard. I can't rate anymore. Like here, so because there's too many and there's too much good stuff. Like it's so hard. So the way I've started thinking about, because I have already thought about this because I was doing it right after the movie. So like I'm like, okay, what moments did it give me? Like I don't know if there's ever going to be a moment as profound as the one I had in the theater the first time I saw Endgame in the portal scene. You know what I mean? Like that moment was something that I've never experienced watching a movie. The closest that I've gotten to that since was the moment in this movie in No Way Home where all three Spider-Men were like, we got to work as a team, and they started swinging together, and like and the Tom Holland Spider-Man reaches back and he web slings the two other Spider-Man. Like, okay, that was about as cool as you're gonna get in some Spider-Man shit. You know what I mean? Like those, it's so I don't know how to answer the rating part, but I would just say this is among, for me, some of the most like incredible and best MCU stuff because of just these several moments that you give us of, you know, them coming through the portals, you know, just those moments where like people just can't help but openly cheer in a movie theater. You know what I mean? Like those moments keep stacking up. And so I know it's a cop out to say I can't rate it, but like I really at this point, like it would just be, it might change tomorrow, but it's up there with the way Endgame made me feel, the way Black Panther made me feel, Civil War airport scene, like, you know, those kinds of things. It stands up there with those, with the most amazing MCU scene so far.
You know what? Now that he just made that comment, yo, I'm surprised none of us brought up the fight scene between Green Goblin and Spider-Man inside the apartment building.
It's amazing.
That fight scene, he fucking took and suplexed him through a floor. Like, like nobody talk. We didn't talk about that shit. He whooped Spider-Man's ass through
he did.
Smiling the whole time too.
Up and out of the apartment building.
Yeah.
Like that's like you know what I mean? I've seen people get beat down staircases, but through floors.
Yeah. Tom Holland has Tom Holland has taken the most epic Spider-Man beatings. This dude has gotten his ass kicked up and down different planets and different buildings and stuff like that. I mean, this is crazy, but yeah, that fight was what we should have had between Green Goblin and Spider-Man, you know, in the first movie, because I mean, Green Goblin is a bastard. That dude is just an asshole. Like he's a flying asshole. Like that's just who that is. And they finally gave him his due and just turned him into an asshole. Loved it.
Yeah, when he was trying to stab him with his fucking like glider and shit, I was like, oh fuck! Like he was going at him, man. That was like epic.
Am I the only one that would have been okay with the decision to let Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man perish? In some weird sense of cathartic, like in some weird
Like
sense of
closure
like
almost.
finality. You know what I'm saying? Like
He got stabbed.
he did get stabbed, but I thought he was going to pass away, which would have opened the door to so many other things. Like, does Andrew Garfield now take the reign over two universes? And then it also kind of lets him rest because, I mean, let's keep it real. Like I like the fact that they referred to the fact that, because in the comic books, him and Mary Jane do get married, they do have child, does become another comic book hero. But I was okay with it when I saw him get stabbed, and we didn't, and not to let y'all off the hook for Ty's question either, but I thought that was cool. I thought that I would have been okay with Tobey Maguire dying, but yeah,
I'm very, very confused by your controversy here right now. He's over here screaming at us earlier. Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man ever, and then he's like, "I would have been okay if he would have died at the end." I want
to hear Steph's reaction to Vince's question because I imagine there's going to be some nasty words. She just told us this is her boo, and you're just going to go at him like that?
Yeah, come on, bring what you got? Clap back.
Yeah. I would not have been pleased if he had died. I was very upset. I thought it was going to happen. I was very hurt. I would be happy to see Tobey come back and swing a little bit. I think he's got some Spider-Man left in him. As far as my movie rankings, I have to say 1, Black Panther, 2 is Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. I don't have to see it. Okay. I don't have to see it. My second favorite. Then I'm gonna say Endgame and Infinity War. That's my top 4. So
okay,
yeah. Okay, so that was great.
Yep. Okay, all right. What about you? Yeah,
that was fucking great. I have to agree with like Tyrone's stance on the whole like rating things now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more about like the feeling for me. So feelings wise, rating movies, I would say Endgame would be the first. The Spider-Man movie we just saw would be the second, and Black Panther would probably be the third because I've just been so hyped about just like everything with Spider-Man lately. So yeah, and then the fourth one I'd probably say it's gotta be like the Age of Ultron. Let's be serious.
Yeah.
Gotta throw my man in there,
That's what's up, man. Well, yeah, I'm glad we all liked it, man. And there's so much more to unpack. We could be here for even more hours. We've done 90 on just No Way Home alone. So, man, we'll be back to revisit. I'm gonna see it again. What's up? What's up, Steph?
I'm just saying that mashup, No Way Home Alone. Somebody needs to do something with that. You said it. You said we've done 90 minutes on No Way Home alone. What a fun mashup that would be.
Like Spider-Man.
The Wet Bandits versus Spider-Man. It would be like a 3-minute movie. They would get destroyed.
Yeah. Like Peter Parker gets left in New York by himself for the holidays.
There'd be fucking webs everywhere around that house.
Guys trying to break in his new apartment.
Yeah,
I know there is a break in his new apartment, and they don't know it's Spider-Man's apartment.
Oh my God.
There is a Spider-Man villain named Hydro that could be the Wet Bandit.
Oh, the Wet Bandits! And yes, there is a Hydro. There definitely is a Hydro. That's hilarious, funny. Man. All right, you get the copyrights for that, Steph. Let's go ahead and get on that. We'll do it for YouTube at least. But since we are still in the realm of Spider-Man and in Marvel, let's talk about the other big Marvel thing that happened this week, which is the finality of Steph's favorite show with Steph's favorite character, Kate Bishop. We did get to see the finality of one Hawkeye show. And dare I say, I don't want to talk about it too much. I mean, let me hear it from Tyrone first, because he's the optimist. Tyrone, what thought you about the season finale of Hawkeye?
I enjoyed it. I'm glad they gave us an hour because there was so much that they needed to cover, and I thought that they fit in what they needed to fit in for sure. I loved the finale. I was so excited about how much Kingpin we got. I didn't think that they were going to bless us with that much Kingpin, and I was so glad that they did. I have so many questions. Obviously, I mean, spoilers, whatever, but like obviously, there's no way he's dead. Like for not even for a second do I buy that. So I can't wait to see what transpired in that moment between Maya and Kingpin in the alley. It's funny because the scene of her holding the gun on him, that was one that we used several times in whenever we were talking about Kingpin. We showed the screenshot of her holding the gun on him and him being like, I think it's even in that little screenshot. Vince, you might have it ready, but in the screenshot, it's him saying we need to work together, which ended up being, kind of like the last little sentiment that they had before the gunshot. But overall, like really, really enjoyed the hell out of the show. I thought it was great. I liked, I was asking for it. I was like, come on, Clint and Yelena, y'all can talk it out. Y'all can do this. And they did it. They talked it out. Like that's a big one for Marvel. I think, they discussed it. They came to terms with what was happening. And it was, I think there are probably some people that are going to be disappointed by that. Because I'm sure a lot of folks were like, oh, this is when he dies. This is the last Hawkeye we're going to see. But no, they kept it, they kept it light, and I wasn't mad at it. And Kate Bishop versus Yelena, the elevators and the running through the building and stuff like that. Awesome scene. Just absolutely. Their chemistry is fantastic. But yeah, I'm super happy that we now have Kingpin officially in the MCU, and he's out there. Contrary to what I said last week, he was out there getting his hands dirty, throwing people through walls and stuff. So getting hit by cars and everything. I did not expect to see Kingpin really get the workout like he did.
Stephanie,
I actually really enjoyed it. I gotta echo Tyrone and say, Kate and Yelena, like that is the mentorship I would have loved to watch 6 episodes of. I could watch the two of them all day. Like clearly, although they're adversaries, there's a healthy respect there. Yelena, seems to think this little girl is like adorable in her attempts and can definitely teach her some things. So I would have loved to see more of the two of them. But I will say this episode really, like, I won't say it made me a Hawkeye fan, but it definitely gave me a new appreciation. I did really find some value in Kate's monologue explaining why she likes Hawkeye, because I always was just kind of like, why does anybody like him? When she broke it down as like, look, he's a dude with a stick and some string. He got no superpowers, and he's still standing up to be a hero. I was like, oh, you're right. Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. And I also really enjoyed seeing him make the arrows. I didn't know Hawkeye was smart. I didn't know he could do things. I was like, oh, look at you doing some science and some engineering. Okay, Clint. So that was kind of cool. Like, I didn't know he made his own arrows. So I definitely have a new appreciation for Hawkeye after the finale.
Oh, wow. Well, look at that. I specifically called on you to try to like talk Tyrone down off of his cloud. What about you, Yaz?
I loved this series, to be honest with you, with the dynamics of family and also superheroes, and like just showing us how ultimately badass Clint Barton really fucking is. I really enjoyed it. I like Haley Stanfield in her character. I know, Stephanie, you're really, really annoyed by her, but I mean, she's a kid. Like, that's probably why you're annoyed by her. She's 22. Like, remember how you were at 22? That's how she is. Poor thing. She's getting there. Okay. So that's why you're so annoyed with her. But yeah, I loved it. I love, I like the best thing about the finale was he finally called her his partner. And I thought that was like the cutest thing ever, like the solidifying, everything that she's worked for, and she just wanted his validation. So I thought that was really cool. And then I also thought it was very interesting that like she totally sent her fucking mom to jail, like on Christmas. Boss ass bitch move. So okay, like that's all I have to say about that. I do have a bitch of the week this week on the actual Hawkeye series, and I'm sure all of you guys are not going to be surprised by this one. My bitch of the week this week is fucking Kingpin, because he was not really getting his ass kicked by a little girl, but he was not winning. So what the fuck was up with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you.
Didn't I tell you guys this is what we were going to get? That's all I got to say about that.
Well, you don't think he was winning that fight? He was clearly winning that fight until he got hit by a car, and then arrows exploded around him.
You know, like he was like literally, it was like she was a rag doll. He was just like throwing her around and shit. I wanted to, you know what I'm saying? Like he did have some good moments where like, you know, he threw her into the wall and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But like, it literally looked like two kids pushing each other around. It was like, well, what the fuck? You're Kingpin.
I want to hang out in your neighborhood where you see kids fight like this. That's what I'm talking about. I want to see some shit like that.
You live in New York now. Listen, Tyrone, you live in New York now. Go walk around outside.
I haven't seen kids throw each other around like that, but I can't. I got to go. Apparently, I got to go to the Bronx or Harlem or something to see that, because this is what I need to be doing. Yeah, because that's if that. Yeah, he was kicking K-Biz ass
like a salad, bro. He was like, ugh, and then. Like she literally was hitting walls and like random shit, and then finally she like fucking used her arrows. That's another thing too. Like, I'm sorry, but you used your arrows. Like, he literally was right over that shit where you blew him up, and then he's not there anymore, and he's like just gimping down the street and shit. Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of quarrels about that. Like, it's Kingpin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, he's not like a human. He's like fucking Superman, but a fucking villain. You know what I mean? Like, he's got.
Well, I mean, he's human.
I mean, yeah, but like Kingpin is like, I don't know. I see
like
him
100% muscle. Yeah,
you're right, but I just he's a big fucking he's a damn brick wall. Okay, he's a brick wall. Like, I just don't understand how like that little explosion.
Little explosion.
Listen. Listen, I love you, yes, but this one right here, you said you were disappointed in the fight, but then you described him throwing her around as like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Listen, one thing that I love that's consistent that the MCU has done is allow Kingpin to be this very impulsive, narcissistic person when he doesn't have love in his life. Now, what we saw in the last episode of Daredevil, I believe it was, he lost the love of his life.
Yep.
In that episode. And what we also saw was a version of him prior to finding love, which was the type of person that would stomp your head in on the floor and kill you if you rubbed him the wrong way. This is the same version that we got in this episode. He clearly told Miss Bishop, yo, slow down. don't do this to yourself. Like, well, think about what you're doing. I don't need to think about what I'm doing. Cool. Kingpin did hire a whole bunch of people to find her. But one thing about Kingpin, he doesn't need anybody to get the job done. He just uses his resources because he has them. So what they showed was, after everybody else failed to find her that night, he comes out of nowhere, snatches a door off the hinges of a car, and like it was paper, by the way, and then gets hit probably by a pretty big body car, going about, I'd say, 40 miles an hour, without stopping.
But he bounced back so quick after that shit. That's what I'm saying.
That's the point.
That's the point. Yeah,
that's the point. Is that
right? So if you just got blown up and you got hit with a car before that, and you just bounced back, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the certain aspects of like what was going on in there, like, it didn't seem realistic to me. I'm sorry. Like, yes, she was flying when she fucking hit him, and he went through a goddamn building and then just like stood right up and was like ready to fucking like fight and shit. Like, that's why I'm just like.
But like Kingpin has like superhuman strength. Like the thing that makes him different is that his body supposedly is 100% muscle. Like, it looks like he's a fat ass, but he's like Cartman with gamma rays inside him. You know what I'm saying?
He stands up to like other heroes in fist fights. Like,
no, I get that, but I just literally just said that to you guys. You guys were like, no, he's not superhuman. He's not.
No, he's not superhuman.
He's not superhuman. He's not
I
a
said
he
he's
doesn't have-
like superhuman. That's why I said, like, yes, like I know about his muscles and that's what I'm saying. But you guys were like, no, that's what I'm getting at though. Like certain aspects of the fight just didn't seem realistic to me because like you have him getting literally hit. Like, yes, I loved him ripping the door off. That part, that was Kingpin for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like how she stopped him with the electrical arrow and shit like that. It's Kingpin. He could just rip that shit the fuck off. Like, let's be serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like that whole fight scene was just like.
Let me jump on this bandwagon with you. I have yet to comment on this show on the finale because I wasn't a huge fan of it. I'm gonna keep it real. It was a little too convenient. This whole thing was. First of all, yes, we have the villain of Daredevil and the villain from Punisher who can't be beat by Daredevil or Punisher, but here's this teeny bopper chick who just got sent home from college for a couple weeks, who just picked up her first freaking trick arrow, who's kicking his ass. It's giving me Rey Skywalker vibes.
Well, he was beaten by Daredevil.
Even though Rey Palpatine, I should call her. I hate those complexes where you become the student and the master in the same saga. It annoys me. It gets a little annoying to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I know she didn't kill him. But damn, the fact that she even had him on his toes was like a little annoying to me, frankly. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, yo, who the fuck?
She escaped him by blowing up all the arrows that she had left. And he did get beaten by Daredevil, by the way, in the Netflix show. He got beaten and then subsequently arrested. So it's I don't know. And I just wanted to just throw those things in there because, like, I mean, because Kate Bishop did not do well against Kingpin at all. Like,
but she was holding her
own. No, she wasn't at all.
She had
she spent most of it getting thrown through walls.
Away, like all her.
She won.
That was a last ditch. It came. No, she didn't win. She escaped. Like he was like
he escaped.
Thank you.
The police showed up. Like, listen. Okay, this was I was trying to make the point earlier. That fight scene is to show that what I was asking for in a version of Kingpin. The reason that Clint was so scared of Kingpin coming into this was because of moments like that. He got hit by a car going 40 miles an hour. He got blown up. Like, he's human. Most humans who get blown up don't walk away at all. Body parts are everywhere. And he walked away, whether he limped away, whether he skirted away, he walked away from an explosion on top of bombs. He didn't walk near bombs. He was standing on the bomb. The bomb exploded. This is what I'm telling you. This is not if these bombs just exploded under his feet, a bullet didn't do shit but irritate him. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if there's no way that you bring a person like Kingpin into the MCU to kill him in the first episode, you bring him into full-on view. There's no way. This version of Kingpin, without the love of his life, is the type of person that if you offend him, he might pull up on you and your family, beat the hell out of you and your family, and toss your kids around if they interfere. That's what he fought Kate as a child. He didn't take her seriously at all, and he still was throwing her through walls. So this whole she was holding her own scenario and she did good. No, she didn't. That's like my little son coming and fighting me. I'm gonna be like, oh, that's cute. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, son. Let me see your power. Show me your muscle. That's what the fuck we saw when he was fighting Kate. Nothing but that. Because there's no way she could have really stood up to him if he really wanted to break her in half. He could have literally just grabbed her and broke her in half.
And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it that when Clint was, talking to her in the ambulance, he was pretty much just like, he was being like, hey, I'm impressed that you survived. Like, that was his was like, yeah, you survived against Kingpin one-on-one. Like, congratulations. Like, you didn't die.
That's what annoyed me. Like, I feel like, I hate the beginners. I hate beginners messianic complex Luke got his ass whooped when he first went up against Darth Vader. That's the way it's supposed to be. Peter Parker got his ass whooped when he first went up against Green Goblin. He had to redeem himself at the beginning, at the end of the movie. Kate Bishop, from the moment she started fighting, has been kicking ass. She kicked the tracksuit mafia's ass. She's held her own against Yelena and them. She fucking just went rounds with Kingpin, and that's just annoying to me.
I feel like you're missing some nuance there, because she didn't, like, when she first met the tracksuit mafia, she kicked maybe 2 or 3 of their asses because she is a highly trained martial arts expert. But as soon as it got real, like, she started getting her ass kicked, and then Clint showed up.
Yeah, Maya was fucking her up in that apartment.
Yeah, and Yelena beat her through a whole office building. So come on, man. Like,
Yelena didn't beat her. Yelena was running away from. Come on, Kate.
She was running away from her.
Kate Bishop.
Yeah,
How do we find this Kate Bishop?
Kate Bishop was annoying Yelena while Yelena was trying to kill somebody else. Like this, I don't think that at any point they portrayed Kate Bishop to be unbeatable or even impressive in times. I mean, she's a good archer, she's a good martial artist, but she's needed help along the way.
This is our point, though, Tyrone, and the fact of the ending of, like, why would you give us an ending scene with some of the, how we know is very vicious, very maniacal, very violent, you know what I'm saying, towards people, and especially kids, and on top of that, and he's just like pushing her around, you know what I'm saying? And
so the only way that would have made sense is if he killed her, is what you're saying.
Or hurt her.
Or like injured her.
Yeah, I mean, I could argue that being thrown through a wall hurts.
yes, I could argue that too.
Steph's trying to say something. Hold up, Steph, before she loses her thought.
Sorry.
Yeah, Kate Bishop should have died. Let's be real, okay? Yelena definitely broke several of her ribs. I'll give her, she's an excellent martial artist, but she does not have super healing abilities. Right. She went into that fight with Kingpin fucked up by Yelena, and she should have died. There's no good explanation for how she survived that.
Or at least been severely injured. Like, I think that for us, I think that we just don't look for the top row here. We're like, Kingpin should not be slightly affected by this chick. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kingpin should be like, what was that? You know what I'm saying?
And that was the case until he got blown up by all the arrows after getting hit by a car. I think you guys are missing that. Like, Kate Bishop didn't win this fight. Yeah. Like she escaped the fight.
It was a fucking draw, bro. She didn't lose.
She escaped. Like you talked about Peter Parker getting his ass kicked early on. You talked about people like Luke Skywalker. They got away. Like, they didn't win the fights. They got away. They survived to ultimately come back and play later. Like, this is how those this is kind of
Tyrone, when Luke got his hand cut off, he did not jump down that pipe with Darth Vader bleeding in front of him in a restaurant. Like, Kingpin had to escape the scene. He was limping away. Like, all I'm saying is, for a youth that new to the Avengers category to do that much damage so quickly takes Kingpin down a notch. And we got Kingpin up here. We're like, yo, Kingpin, who the fuck? Like, he shouldn't even have any scratches. Like, and and if they're going to be scratches, it should be given through Hawkeye, the experience.
So it takes all the trick arrows. It takes a car and all the trick arrows to knock him down for long enough to escape, and that's just too much.
He was down for like 2 seconds after he got hit.
I don't know what. There is no pleasing you.
I don't know. It is definitely. What's up, Ty?
Yo, I'm gonna say this, right? All right, so like this misconception of who Kingpin is in the MCU as well as the comic books is a little crazy. Kingpin is still a businessman first. Like, whether that be in crime, whether that be in the corporate world, everything like that. Kingpin does not just walk around killing babies and fucking up kids and doing all of that kind of shit. What he does do, though, is if you cross him in a business sense or cross into his empire of making money or any of those things, then you become a problem that he deals with. Kate was trying to protect her mother. He realized that at that moment. That's why it was really funny to him that she was trying to, involve herself in what he was trying to do. Remember, he threw her to the side and said like something to the degree of like, mind your business, or let the grown-ups talk, or something he said. I don't remember what exactly he said, but it was something to that degree. And he was basically saying, this is something that we had going on, you know what I mean, prior to whatever it is that you talking about. I'm dealing with this right now. His focus wasn't on her. He didn't take her as a real threat. So all of that little, flailing and everything that she did, which led to her getting thrown into multiple walls and over counters and all of that kind of stuff. The damage came from the car hitting him. That because prior to that, throughout the fight that they had, he had no damage, none. He had no damage. So if she were winning, or if you guys thought she was winning, it didn't show physically. So the car did the damage, and then the end situation was he had broken up her arrows, taken them out of her quiver and broke them all to pieces. Rule 1 of archery 101 is never let your quiver be taken by the enemy, because they're gonna break your sticks up. So that's what the hell happened. She just happened to be in a situation again, from being thrown across the room, to where she had that final trick that Hawkeye taught her, where you can flick a whatever, something really small and hit something, and was able to land the decisive blow. But even with that being said, he was standing on top of explosives. Like the police showed up and he left. There was not. She didn't win nothing. She escaped to fight another day. This version of Kingpin is the version of Kingpin that I have been waiting for. He still has a semblance of humanity left. He still has a genuine emotion and love for Echo. So with that being said, even if she shot him with a bullet, I think he just like, why'd you do that? Come on, let's talk a little bit. Like, yeah, I know you're upset. I don't think he kills her. He could, because I've seen how he deals with love in the MCU. Well, not necessarily in the MCU, but if they base the character off the same character we saw in the Daredevil, then when he finds something he loves, he treats them, anything that he loves, he treats very well. When he lost when they killed his right hand man, you remember how he reacted to that. So I mean, it's just stuff like that you got to take into consideration.
Okay, so I have to interject on that actually. So Kazi, which is his new right hand man or whatever, he literally said to Maya, like, you need to leave, because if you don't go, you will be killed. He literally said that to her. He said that he will be coming after you. He said that to her. And then not only did he say that to her, but when she met up with him and was fighting him, before she killed him, he said that you stole my life. He literally said that to Maya. Like, you stole my life and you need to go so I can have my life. I can't go because this is my life. This is what I've worked for my whole life. So Kazi, if what you're saying is true, then how would Kazi become the new head if Maya's around? He'd have to kill her. That would be.
I don't think Kazi's his right. I don't think Kazi's his right hand anything. I think Kazi is just another underling that he gets to do his bidding. But I think Kazi also probably lied to Maya. I think Kazi is the reason that her father got killed in the first place. I think
she knows that. But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, if Kingpin didn't tell Kazi not to show up, you know what I'm saying? Like, because he knew that he sent Ronin, you know what I'm saying? Or like that he was in cahoots or whatever about the whole Ronin, like, coming to kill her father. That's what I'm saying. Like, obviously him and Kingpin are a little tighter than we assume they are. Right?
I don't know.
I think Kazi expected that after Maya's father was killed, he would then become the head of the Tracksuit Mafia and that whole branch of the organization or whatever. But because Maya was alive and sort of, in a way, Kingpin's like adoptive family, then that's why he said, like, you took what was supposed to be mine,
right?
Just because he liked you or whatever. But then once Kingpin realized that Maya was no longer part of things, when she realized that her father was killed by people in the organization, then all bets were off. So I think at that point, Kazi just expected that he would be the leader of the Tracksuit Mafia instead of Maya.
Right.
Well, listen, we don't all agree on all of this, man. I still think that, I mean, I get it. Kingpin got away and they lost a whole bunch of them, but you know, I just have that. I have that thing like don't just you know. I mean, he's Kingpin, all right, but the other thing about it is, I also frankly thought that it was a little corny, and I understand why this happened. So don't get me wrong, I'm not tripping on why, but I thought it was a tiny bit corny that Yelena ended up talking it out with Clint so easily. I get it, but it was just kind of like, it was like, all right, man, like, you know, bro, you came this far. You're talking about all this big shit about killing him, and then all he's got to do is give you, you know, you're a Black Widow. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not, you know, somebody. But I get it. You know, I'm torn with it, but I'm also kind of like, man, you know what I'm saying?
Her humanity about her sister. That's why, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, all the stories and all the time that she got with Clint and didn't get with her sister. You know what I'm saying? Like he knew shit about their relationship that she never shared with anybody else. So, you know what I'm saying? So obviously, like, there was a level of trust that they had, that she shared her life with, you know what I'm saying? Like with Yelena, no one even knew that she had a sister. Clint did, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's, I guess that part, you know what I'm saying, appealed to her, because she was like, my sister trusted this man so much with this much, you know, information about herself. Like, maybe I should give him a chance. I think that was like that revelation she was having, you know, like.
Yeah. The whistle was a deal breaker. I think when he did do the little whistle, it kind of called to her good nature and brought her back home. I get that. I guess it, you know, I mean, it just, like I said in the beginning, so much convenience in this episode. You know what I'm saying? So much convenience. Freaking, you know, Kate Bishop gets gets away with Kingpin with a few scratches. Yelena has an Ayanna fix my life moment with Hawkeye. You know what I'm saying? Then there's a gunshot at the very end that I guess is supposed to resemble, and we all know that freaking Yelena. I hope to God that when they show what happened in this scene with Echo and Kingpin, that she did actually shoot him, and that the bullet, like, he just pulls it off his head or something. He's like,
well, he's not bulletproof though. Like, his clothes are.
Right. But I mean, he's clearly not easy to kill. So I hope she shoots him for real.
Wait a minute, time out. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you just say his clothes are bulletproof?
No.
Yeah,
no.
He is.
Okay, wait, no, time out. Like, let me just go back to this. His clothes are bulletproof. He got hit by a car, flew through a window, nothing happened, right? Then he got blown up, and his shit is bulletproof, and he walked away fucking limping. I think you just justified why Vince and I were upset about the whole fact.
I'll ask for a little bit more elaboration on that, because I don't understand what you're saying.
She's saying that, if you're saying that there's no way that he should have been beaten by this chick, if even in this he's 100% muscle and his clothes are bulletproof, which I wasn't saying that, but evidently that's what Ty was saying, and he still was justifiably limping away from this explode. I mean,
she didn't shoot him.
You said it was bulletproof, though. Bullets, explosions.
Yeah, nobody hit him with a bullet.
Like the same, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at
No,
they're
not the same. No, look, because I hear you back there. You said bulletproof explosions, car impacts. That all is the same for a bulletproof vest?
I didn't say it was all the same. I said it was similar.
Stop you.
I got good job.
I don't think those. I mean, if we want to go through the what happens to somebody's body when they get shot versus what happens to somebody's body when there's an explosion right near them, we can talk about what that does to your insides and stuff like that.
Tyrone, not near them, under them.
Yeah, when they're standing on top of a multiple explosion, yeah.
How his legs fine, but his sides fucked up? I'm just saying. If we're talking about mathematics here, how does that happen? You know what I mean?
So
are you mad that he's? I want to understand the point you're trying to make here because I don't want to just like start arguing a random point that I choose. I want to make sure I understand the point you're trying to make.
I'm mad because Kingpin is supposed to be this indestructible motherfucker, and
no, he's not indestructible.
His fucking suit is bulletproof, and he was standing over a fucking explosion and got blown up. But his side is the thing that got the most damage. Like, his face got a little bit of like charcoal, little scratches, but his feet definitely would have been like blown off if we were being realistic. You know what I'm saying? Not his side would have been hurting him. I'm just throwing this out, like, just
Ty.
Like, are
I
his
just
shoes
wanna
made of
talk
something?
about-
Do we not know?
I just want to talk about how desensitized we've become. Listen, we've gotten so used to super powered heroes that we don't understand what it's like to be human anymore. All of these people we're talking about are human. I heard Vince talk about Yelena making it easy for Clint. Easy. Is easy being hit with two steel pipes back and forth on both of your arms and your face and all of that kind of stuff? But because he's not profusely bleeding, we don't think that we think that he got it easy. He got his ass whooped and then almost got killed. And then they somehow worked it out. Sometimes when death's staring you right in your face, you start sharing. And he shared the things that she needed to hear. All of her movements you could tell were being based off of emotion anyway. These things needed to be addressed, moving forward for Yelena to have a constructive life moving forward in the MCU. That moment needed to happen. But this kingpin discussion,
Yeah.
listen,
Like, how is a bulletproof stuff supposed to stop an explosion from hurting you? I mean,
or
just that there's
a full-on car impact. That's
did.
like a car
We
hitting
saw
you.
it. It did.
yeah. So what? No, I think I'm obviously missing something.
Okay,
that
all right.
you're
Well,
trying to say.
look. You saw Iron Man's suit. We could say it makes him bulletproof, and it also keeps him from, being harmed by said, shrapnel and things flown in the way. I think that what Yaz is doing is equating like his suit. If it's bulletproof, then it should also be able to maintain its structure within some sort of explosion.
Oh well, that's not how bulletproof stuff works, though.
Okay.
That's not how bulletproof.
Compared a man with a full-on iron metal suit.
So we gotta test this then, because
a little different.
No, for example, when War Machine, when Rhodey fell out of the sky, right, and he hit the ground, he ended up becoming paralyzed because that kind of impact, you get shot by something, bullet's gonna bounce off, whatever, but that kind of impact, there's no the energy transfer of that kind of impact. It has to go somewhere. So his back broke.
The ground didn't explode.
Thank you. I was gonna say, and Iron Man, that was just like a one of his newer prototypes that he was making. The other that suit was more.
Well, I think you're missing the point. What I'm trying to say is that bulletproof stuff doesn't stop, because of the way it's designed. It does not stop the concussive force of an explosion.
I get it, and I get it, but I'm just saying though, it's unrealistic. If we're gonna be sticking to
Spiderman is unrealistic. I mean, everything in this is unrealistic.
We could always pull that card.
Yeah, no, but does it match the rules set up by the universe? It absolutely does.
Listen, at the end of the day, I wish that, goddamn it, Kate Bishop was hurt more by. I just don't like the fact that she easily walked away from this guy, and I know y'all are like, it wasn't easy. I just didn't like that part. Steph.
I was going to go back to Hawkeye and Yelena. I actually think it made a lot of sense for things to end the way that they did with them, because Yelena she was hurt. She was angry. I think deep down she knew that Clint did not kill Natasha. Black Widow's not my favorite, but she could fight, Yelena was giving Clint that work, and she knew her sister was at least as bad as her. So I think she knew that this little man with his arrows was not able to kill Natasha. I don't think she really believed he was that big of a bad. So I feel like she really just kind of needed to get her feelings out. She needed to kick his ass a little bit. It to me was like the equivalent of you're in a relationship and you meet the person that your partner cheated on you with, and then you want to fight them. And it's like, it's not really their fault, but you just, you got to get those emotions out and you want to vent on somebody. So it was like Clint became the avatar for the anger that she felt about Natasha's death. And once she was able to kick his ass a little bit and get that out, she was like, all right, now I'm good.
That was a phenomenal metaphor. The metaphor is perfect. It's like, it's not really his fault. You know what I'm saying? It's the dude's fault, And so yeah, man, I think that makes sense. I'll take that, man. And you talked me down. You're right. Maybe she just needed closure, and it was fortunate that Contessa gave her an opportunity to give it to her, even though it was by way of redemption through murder. But I think you're right, and maybe you're on to something, and that explains why Yelena met up with Kate Bishop, because she's like, why are you protecting him? You know what I'm saying? And maybe some of that stuff worked. So good points. All good points. All good points. It's weird because the way the screen works, it kind of looks like Tyrone's hand is up because like if you look over at the thing. So let me not say that. All right, all discounting aside, I think that the series itself was a success. I'll ask y'all this before we move on rapid firely through some other subjects so we can all go about our days. Where does Hawkeye sit on your totem pole as it pertains to the newer Disney Plus shows? Let's just name them all: WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki. Of these shows, where is your, where do you put the best and the worst of these shows now that we have these on? I'll give y'all a second to deliberate. You want mine? I know mine. All right, yeah. And mine might surprise you. But I thought that the show with the biggest reaction, because of One He Who Remains, was Loki. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put Loki at the top of this, despite the fact that I did still hate the first couple episodes. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, yo, I don't know what they're doing, but Loki ultimately gave us the most significant developments out of all of the movies, in my opinion, by bringing in Kang the Conqueror, and by also having the multiverse explored first with a different. This is where we learned that Ty would fuck himself. It's multiple times. Yes. You do it a lot. To quote him, I'm banging me and I'm banging me a lot is the quote. Then I would go Falcon and Winter Soldier, then WandaVision. Now I know WandaVision for most will go to number 2, but I like Falcon and Winter Soldier because they introduced a lot of stuff too. We got to see Wakanda back in action. We got to see Dora Milaje. We got to see Ayo from Wakanda. We even got to see the new Captain America. We got to see Isaiah Walker. We got to see a lot of stuff in that, and the treatment of a black man as an Avenger. We learned that they don't get paid like we thought they did. Remember they was in the bank and he was like, well, I mean, it's a lot of, public contribution, and they couldn't even get a house. Right. Then WandaVision, and then I'm gonna put Hawkeye at the bottom only because it didn't feed me as much action, and it didn't give me as much future, even though I know we got Yelena and we got Echo and Kate Bishop. Honestly, I still put it at the bottom. Good.
Her name is not Yelena. Her name is not Yelena. It's Yelena. Don't talk about my lady's name like that.
Yelena. Yeah. All right. Well, since you're speaking, man, what would you rate Hawkeye?
Oh, I'm gonna go straight Loki first, because I did say from off the top that I thought it was gonna be the best show out of all of them, and I still agree that it was the best show out of all of them. I'm gonna go with a sleeper on my number 2. I'm going What If. On my number 2, I'm gonna go What If. I really thought What If just really touched on a lot of possibilities and gave us a lot of little different scenarios, and was a lot better than anybody expected or anticipated. So except for Stephanie May. In my third spot, I'm gonna go Falcon and Winter Soldier as well. And then y'all are gonna hate me for this one, but believe it or not, I'm gonna go Hawkeye and then WandaVision.
We know the black and white.
I think no. I mean, listen. I think WandaVision was our first experience with not having a Marvel for a long time, and then really being thirsty, and just everything like that. I think it was a good series. I'm not saying it wasn't. I just after going back and watching it again in comparison to what I've seen, Hawkeye brought one of my favorite villains in Kingpin, one of my favorite actors in Vincent D'Onofrio, back to the big screen. And Charlie Cox, we got Daredevil. So for me, the implications that come behind what's going on in Hawkeye series are just kind of for me make it a step above WandaVision, because since WandaVision, the next experience we will have with Wanda is coming in
The
the
multiverse
multiverse
madness.
madness. So it's been a minute. But with this, I think there's so many other avenues that are about to just pop up just because of what's going on in Hawkeye.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. And I didn't mean to exclude What If. I guess I was thinking live action, but we can include What If. Tyrone, what say you, brother? Where you rank Hawkeye?
That's tough. Actually, I think I like Hawkeye a little bit more than I like Falcon and Winter Soldier. Love them all, by the way. There's no, so much love for all these shows. Actually, WandaVision is going to be number one for me. I thought it was, just as it's so original and so weird and so much fun. They all did such a great job. I love WandaVision. I thought WandaVision was fantastic. I think it deserves all the accolades it's been getting, and to me, WandaVision stands out. I think mainly because it was so different from everything else that we have seen from the MCU.
Agreed.
What If was amazing.
It kickstarted everything.
Yeah, if I'm talking about moments, I think WandaVision had a lot of those great moments, but Loki might have had the best moment when we watched the timeline start to fracture and start to split off and stuff like that, and I think Loki gave us some of those really, really strong moments. So it's WandaVision and Loki for me, number one, number two, probably What If, Hawkeye, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier, and again, that's with all the love for all of them. If I could just give them all one big hug, I absolutely would. And I don't care who's closest to my chest. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even matter. I just want to hug everybody.
All right, Steph, you have where would you rank Hawkeye amongst the remainder of the shows that Disney Plus released?
I'm kind of the equal opposite of Tyrone. I just don't really care too much about any of them. I guess Falcon and Winter Soldier gets like an extra point for blackness. But they're all cool. None of them are particularly close to my heart. So I'm waiting to see Storm in the MCU with her man the way it always should have been. That's the show I want to see. I want to see some families in Wakanda.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a surprising answer from Steph. But I'm so shocked that she said that she dug the finale. And that she came around for Yelena. But yeah, that is fascinating. I do think that if they do end up developing this Wakanda series, that we're going to see a different level of enthusiasm coming from you as it pertains to the MCU roles on Disney Plus. But I definitely think that Hawkeye, unfortunately, was on the bottom of the totem pole as it pertains to. Doesn't mean it's bad. Just means that it has a lot of big shoes to fill. with freaking Loki, come on, bro. We got freaking Jonathan Majors. You know what I'm saying? He killed that role. He destroyed the role, and he stole the whole series. You know what I'm saying?
Let's not. You're really
what?
Boying it right now.
Hold on a second. Whoa. So you're Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston. Yo, how you gonna steal the whole show you was on for
Yes, that's how good he did. Yeah, that's how well of a job
he did. Great, but Tom Hiddleston is still the
okay. Let me put it like this. Let me frame it to you like this. If Jonathan Majors was played by another actor, do you think we would have been as captivated by those scenes? Also,
if we had already had a relationship with that actor, sure. We had a relationship with Jonathan Majors because we love Lovecraft Country. So if there was another
but that's
actor,
my point. That's how it's the perfect.
Your question was if it was another actor, would we? And I said my response was if we already had a relationship with him like we did with Jonathan Majors.
Who else could fit that role?
Whoever the actor would have been that we
nobody.
Had,
nobody else could have played that role, bro. Nobody else could have did that shit.
So let me ask you this: prior to Lovecraft Country, were you a Jonathan Majors big time fan? Were you over here standing in the gap for him? Were you over here raising your hands and applause for all of the great acting instances that Jonathan Major had prior to Lovecraft Country, sir?
Listen. I was not prior to Lovecraft Country. No. But
so to answer your question, yes.
You wasn't a Tom Hiddleston fan before Loki. You know what I'm saying? Like we can sit here and go to. So the fact that these folks are casted doesn't necessarily mean anymore. I mean, the fact that they're casted, we can take it as a given.
I think no. I'm just saying I was just answering your question because your question was, do we think there would be another actor that could take that and do that role? And my question back to you was, did we know who Jonathan Majors was prior to his role in Lovecraft Country? So the point that I'm making is that yes, it could have been any actor that we had developed a relationship with from a past movie that could have stepped in and done the role of He Who Remains.
Okay. When Chris Rock shows up as He Who Remains, I want to hear that same energy when Chris Tucker from Friday, when Ezell pulls up and is freaking He Who Remains.
Rest in peace.
Rest his soul. Excuse me. Like it's like.
And if Ezell would have showed up as He Who Remains, we would have been still talking about that.
Flavor Flav was like, "Yo, wow,
we would have been talking about
yo, I'm He Who Remains, yo. You know your flavorlicious.
You picked the worst black guy. The worst black guy.
You're not gonna.
He's so purple, bro. Like, oh my god.
I'm just saying, Vince. You're taking the character, and I'm talking about the fact that He Who Remains, is who showed up. As comic book fans, our expectations was who is going to be the big reveal behind the thing. Now, Jonathan Majors did an excellent job. I'm not taking anything from him. The point that I was saying was when you said that he stole the show, I'm saying, whoa. He put on an excellent role. He did an excellent job with his character. But for you to take away the 7 or what was it? How many episodes was it? 8?
I think it was 7 episodes.
So for you to take away from the 7 episodes that he didn't show up, that Tom Hiddleston carried that show, and then say, oh, on the 8th episode, this dude is 15 minutes on screen, stole the entire series. No, it was the reaction to He Who Remains being the character who showed up, and that we as comic book fans can now see the movement and the growth in the MCU as far as who they're adding to who they're bringing in. I think that's what I was.
I don't think Tom Hiddleston's. I don't think that he played. I don't think he did anything extraordinarily phenomenal in his role. He carried the role that he did well. But the addition of Jonathan Majors as He Who Remains, as Kang the Conqueror, I just think brought it home in the manner that it was done. And I think that it overshadowed, if not just kind of was the greatest crescendo and climax to that series. And it couldn't have been done much better. And all I'm saying is that Jonathan Majors, like, if it wasn't for Jonathan Majors playing the role in that part and playing it so well, then Loki wouldn't be at the top of my my list. So I credit that to Jonathan Majors. What's up, G? What's up, Yaz?
Okay, so I didn't get to answer like before we just like go on another rant like on other shit. I didn't get to answer the question of like the top 5. So I'm just gonna chime in real quick, then we can go back to our argument. Okay. My
bad. Yeah,
sad life, just saying to get sidetracked and shit. So my top 5, I think. Sorry. My top 5 for the series of Marvel for this year, for 2021, I would definitely say that Loki's got to be my number 1. I loved everything start to finish about that. WandaVision will be my number 2. Actually, I feel like Loki and WandaVision are kind of like tied for number 1, but we'll say it's number 2. Number 3 will definitely have to be What If. That show blew my mind. I even like the zombies scene, and I don't even fucking like zombies. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's just telling you something right there. We're starting to integrate. Yes. Starting.
Yes.
No, it's not happening. But yeah, okay, so What If was number 3, and then number 4, I'd have to say would have to be the Hawkeye series. I really like the Hawkeye series. Actually, I'm sorry. Falcon and Winter Soldier will be number 4 just because of how prominent that it was a great series, and I loved how they handled real-time things into what's going on in our superheroes right now. I thought that was fucking flawless. So that's number 4, and number 5 would have to be Hawkeye. So yeah, that's my top 5, y'all.
Wow, I think ours matched identical. I think that we had the same exact list. Except I didn't include What If on mine, but I think I'd put it right in the middle where yours was, if not at the top. I mean, only problem is it's not really like MCU content, I suppose, or is it? You know, now we are seeing the Multiverse of Madness come in, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's good to know that nobody had it as the first, Hawkeye as the top. It's just like we all like, it was good, it was cute, you know, but it looks like we all, you know, respected it, but didn't necessarily look at it as a new, you know, like, you know, it didn't take the reign of everything else that we dug. So having said that, man, that was dope. I want to say this one last thing about the Hawkeye episode, which I think we didn't really get into. I did notice, if anybody else, that they are constantly trying to throw this watch at us, and we finally learned what this was about.
Number 19.
We've been hinting at Clint's wife possibly being more significant of a person than she is laying on to be. And what the internet at least is trying to convince us is that she is Agent 19 of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who I think was this young lady, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100%. I did watch the show, and I do remember her. This does confuse me a little bit, all right? Because, I mean, in terms of timelines, I watched the show, and she had a boy. When she left, like, she was with the other dude. You know what I'm saying? And it was not Hawkeye. He was some British dude.
If it didn't work out. Maybe it didn't work out.
Plus they've since retconned a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. Like a lot of that is no longer MCU canon. That started before Disney bought Marvel Studios. You know, that was like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was so long ago and had such different kind of. I mean, they introduced Inhumans and
they did,
in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is like I don't think that's going to carry over into MCU. I think whenever we do get Inhumans, if we do, it'll be a completely different story. So there's still a chance that Laura Barton could be Mockingbird.
X-Men, we could get Inhumans.
Yeah,
because if I remember correctly,
that's where you got him.
I don't remember which X-Men it was, but on that island, Ellis Island, I believe that was where Inhumans were.
Yeah.
That was like you remember when Magneto took all of the mutants over to Ellis Island, on Ellis Island or whatever. That I think that's where this whole Inhumans thing
who was on that list?
I think that's more of a I think that was supposed to be more of a Morlock type we're the mutants that don't pass for human kind of thing. That was sort of that. The Eternals is actually probably more the setup for Inhumans. Because Inhumans are descendants of Eternals, so it's more likely that that's going to be the case.
Let it not be. Let's not try to pretend. I know some of the networks might want to pretend, but the Inhumans did have a series.
Oh yeah, there
was a series, and I know we want to forget about it, like Daredevil, but the Inhumans did have a series starring one Reek from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Black Bolt, the girl with the hair. I didn't think it was as bad as everybody else said it was.
Thanos snapped that shit out of existence.
I didn't think it was that bad. I liked the girl with the hair.
She was super
Medusa.
sexy. She
Well, I
was
mean, yeah, I don't know, it's not the sexy part, but I
Oh,
like
but-
the hair. The hair aspect of it was dope. I liked Black Bolt not speaking at all. I thought that the development, I thought it was there, but I get it. I get it. It is what it is. It didn't work, and I guess we shall never speak of it again. According to Tyrone, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be mad if they did start bringing in those things. Let's run through a couple things real quick, and then we can go ahead and release to the wild, because I'm sure we all got things to do, and this is in true Vince Taylor form, going way longer than was anticipated. So we'll try to wrap up these things. A couple things real quick, man. I was gonna go into some of the speculation about the multiverse of madness. We'll say that for the end. I wanted to get y'all real quick opinions if you did indeed watch. I'm assuming nobody watched The Matrix. If you did,
I didn't.
I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences for your time. If you haven't watched it yet, don't rush. It's just watch John Wick instead.
Available.
It is a hard watch. I tried to watch it, and multiple times my brain was like, all right, so we really gonna watch this start to finish, like no breaks, no nothing. And it reeks of Hollywood forcing a sequel and not waiting for it to be where oh shoot, my bad. I took the wrong my bad.
That's all good. Yeah, it's already peed himself.
I thought maybe you wanted to protect me from the
Oh,
terrible
no,
things
no,
you were
all right.
about to say
So,
about
nah,
the
yeah.
Matrix. I was like, yeah, take me off for this.
Nah. It was the Matrix movie. All I'm gonna say is we're not gonna, I didn't even finish it, but it could have waited.
It's a failed John Wick 4 experiment.
I'm
so
It
curious.
is a failed John Wick 4 experience.
It's-
Keanu Reeves is John Wick. He has become John Wick, and he is embracing it, whether it be in public, whether it be on screen. He is not going to change how he looks, and he's John Wick. And that's what it is. From what I saw, yeah, man. I'm with you, Vince.
Yeah, man. It's sad to watch the franchise get penetrated without consent is the best way I can put it. It just reminds you of something. You can almost see somebody like, we can do Matrix 4. Keanu's out. We got Carrie Moss. Well, we got Jada Pinkett too. Well, what about Morpheus? I don't know about all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there should have been no version of this. If they couldn't get Morpheus, if they couldn't get the dude that played Agent Smith in the beginning, they should have they should have either done a completely different version of it, like they did with the animated version of it was actually really good. The follow-up to the Matrix that was animated. They could have done something that didn't have much to do, that treated the original cast like legends and didn't have any of them. But don't do half of them and then try to use half the movie to explain why the other half that isn't there. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna even spend all that much time on it.
Does anybody know what happened there? Because I feel like I read Lawrence Fishburne saying that he didn't get a call, and I assumed it was the Spider-Man. Ooh, we're gonna surprise you and show up, and you won't expect it. So knowing that apparently that doesn't happen, why does anyone have any clue why he was not in the movie? Because I didn't get the impression that he was refusing.
I think Lawrence is like 300 and something pounds at this point. Like, I don't know if they just was like, Lawrence in shape for the role, and he probably was like, nah. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've seen him lately, but Lawrence doesn't look like Morpheus no more. He looks like Morpheus.
See, I wish they would have wrote that in, Fast Four type thing, like Morpheus been chilling in the real world.
Yeah, I mean, just because he's gained some weight doesn't mean that he's not worthy of the screen. I mean, they could have, like Steph says, like they could have written that in. I think that
CGI. I mean, they could have CGI'd his ass skinny.
That would have been hilarious.
Or I mean, he's just a dude. You know what I mean? Morpheus just a human. He could have just been like, "Hey, it happens."
Hey, yes,
and that could have been it.
Well, there is a part, and I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter, but I'm not going to tell you. But let's just say time has gone on. So Maybe that was another reason too, Vince. You know what I'm saying? Because of the time.
Yeah.
I'm so curious. I can't wait to watch this. I'm
Yes,
getting
you can.
more excited. I'm getting more excited to watch it as like I hear, because I'm so curious to see all this stuff.
Oh God, please!
Make sure.
They didn't
Make
really.
sure you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I hope we are really not gonna put you through this type of stress.
Oh, no, I don't have expectations. I'm just very curious and excited to experience it.
Yeah.
Well, just give your. Are you gonna see it in a movie theater or at home?
Oh, at home.
At home. Okay, so just make sure that your phone is away from you, so you don't tempt yourself. First of all, completely away from you, because you will. Second, I would make sure you give yourself a little bit of time to rewind and fast forward, because some shit is like, what the fuck just happened?
That is true.
And there's a couple of moments where you're like, I gotta fucking rewind this shit, and like it turns into a 3-hour fucking movie because you did that. So just give yourself, like mental clarity and time for that shit. Okay.
Cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll talk about. I think we can revisit the Matrix a little later. I think that's Tobey Maguire hitting up.
That was the Tobey
I heard you talking about me online.
All right. So there's that, and then the other thing that I think we set to talk about was The Witcher, but I guess we can hold off on talking The Witcher. We spent a lot of time here. Just know that I did watch season 2. I don't know if everybody here had a chance to watch season 2, but it did. But Witcher did come out, so that's something we'll more than likely talk about at length next week when we get, or whenever when we get back to.
That might take up all of our time. You never know.
So what did you say?
The Book of Boba Fett drops this week.
Oh yeah, the Boba Fett. Oh yeah, the Book of Boba Fett drops too. So yeah, we might have to. We might speak on Witcher a little bit, but we
won't have Hawkeye. We won't have Hawkeye to talk
there will be no Hawkeye to discuss, and or No Way Home. We would have been gone over that. Yeah. So Book of Boba Fett and Witcher definitely look like, and then the Wheel of Time I think is going to have a conclusion. So we didn't get into that as well.
And I don't know why nobody has it. Everybody caught up on Wheel of Time?
I'm like 3 episodes.
That's why y'all ain't said nothing. Okay, cool.
I am, and I actually, like you, was brought into. I was excited about this last episode. Woke me up. This last episode woke me up.
Best episode thus far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying. Look, I saw your face, Steph. Not saying that it's not going to change the entire lexicon, but let's just say that there's a new character introduced that is so badass that we're just like, holy shit, like more of that, please, more of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's right at the very beginning. I'm just gonna keep it real. Yeah. Like, once you hit play, those first 5 minutes, you're like, who the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, more of that, please. And then
never before seen. This is a never before seen scene. Like that. Like I've never seen a scene like this depicted in any movie.
Yeah, yes.
So like that right there, it says enough. I've never seen it done. I've never seen it done and done so elegantly.
Yeah,
like
man.
that shit was. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
I have to share his excitement with it. I was like, holy shit. And the concept of the scene itself is something that I have never seen done before. And for Wheel of Time, like it almost felt like I had to like watch. Like, is this Wheel of Time? Like, oh shit! Like, am I watching the right show? Like, because it's that good. Like those scenes. I mean, it doesn't make us like the characters anymore. I'm not gonna lie. I've started to grow weary of the characters selected for the main characters. All of them: Egwin, the wolf black guy, the redheaded guy. The Darth, the freaking serious black looking dude. All of them have annoyed me. The only one that I like right now is the warden for fucking the lady. What's her name? Yeah. The Asian dude, the dude who eventually,
hey, go ahead, man. Hey, bro, because look, he's teetering on the verge of spoiling. Yeah, he's teetering on the verge of spoiling.
All right, let me abandon the ship, yo.
Spoilers start touching the
back. Let me shut up. Were you saying something, Ty, bro? You just.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with
that
Ty
hand in
that
the
like
background.
you are you like to
Yeah.
brush up against those spoilers.
I creep up to it and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, cool. All right, so we'll talk Witcher, we'll talk Wheel of Time a little more. We've already gone over the disappointment of the Matrix. Right now, why don't we just go ahead and leave on our opinions about this trailer? Since we did have the opportunity to all see No Way Home, we all know that if you're a true Marvel fan, you didn't leave until you saw the end credits. So we got teased with the Venom, but we also got teased with the Multiverse of Madness, which took up a significant portion of the credits, if I'm not mistaken. And so, for y'all viewing pleasure, I went ahead and got the Doctor Strange Multiverse trailer queued up, for we can just take a quick look at it and then give our predictions and all that other stuff on it. So, without further ado, guys, here is the Doctor Strange trailer. At least I think this is the new one in its entirety. If not, y'all let me know. But here it is. Let's do it.
Don't cast that spell. It's too dangerous. Why? We tampered with the stability of space-time. Multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little. Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished. It was the only way. But I never meant for any of this to happen. Wanda.
I knew sooner or later you'd show up. I made mistakes, and people were hurt.
I'm not here to talk about Westview.
Then what are you here for?
I need your help.
With what?
What do you know about the multiverse? I'm sorry, Stephen. I hope you understand. The greatest threat to our universe is you. Things just got out of hand.
All right, so I know it was a little choppy. All right, my apologies. I know it was a little, but we can fix it in post, as they say in Hollywood. But I think that we learned a lot here. We learned that WandaVision plus No Way Home equals the Multiverse of Madness, and maybe even sprinkle a little Loki into that as well. What else can we determine? We now know based on this trailer. Tyrone, you're pretty good with the Easter eggs, man. What did we see that we didn't notice?
Another Young Avenger.
Oh,
America Chavez, Miss America, as another Young Avenger who was shown in that trailer. And I mean, I at this point, if we don't get a Young Avengers like movie or a storyline, I would just be shocked, because I mean we have so many of them who have already been introduced. So that's definitely something that stood out to me.
Oh, yo, real quick, bro. How come I didn't see her? Where was she?
There's a point where there's a young lady walking with a jacket on that has a star on the back.
Remember when we were talking about it, and I was like, was that Kamala Khan? Because I didn't know who it was. I didn't know who it was. But now
okay.
Yep, there it is.
Okay.
It has just been clarified. That's America Chavez.
Look at Tyrone, bro. That's why I went to Tyrone. Tyrone be knowing, man. So we got America. We have another Young Avenger. So now that makes her. It makes
Kate Bishop.
What's old boy from the Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Patriot.
The Patriot.
And you have Wanda's sons.
Yeah.
Quick.
Speed and Wiccan.
Speed and Wiccan.
Wiccan and Speed.
Yeah.
So we're doing good, man. It looks like they are. Dang, man, that's a good spot. What else? Is anything else that we missed, Tyrone?
The Sanctum was dark. Like if you guys noticed, it was all like
that's true.
Dark strange. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like the normal Sanctum. There's no snow. There's like nothing that like it wasn't like the Sanctum that we normally have seen where it's like lit up and stuff like that. It was completely, the stairs were black, like it was dark. If you notice that,
that's true.
And that's where he interacted with Dark Strange, was at the Sanctum.
Is this now justifying why we saw so many clips of Doctor Strange in the WandaVision trailers? Because remember, we kept wondering whether or not Doctor Strange was going to show up in WandaVision, but now it's making sense why he was showing up in the trailers, even though he didn't even show up in the show. Does that make sense, Ty? Like they were teasing us on the movie, not the show.
Yeah, that was another one of the Marvel's very genius ways of misdirection.
Yeah,
exactly. But this, for me, I was wondering if we were ever going to get a standalone Wanda movie, and we possibly might not get a standalone Wanda movie. I think the WandaVision storyline is the best we're going to get at her, or at the like the real behind the scenes look at her life from what we saw in WandaVision. But when we found out that she was possibly going to be in this movie, I don't think any of us expected her to play a major role. Like we thought she might have pulled up, but it looks like from this trailer, and maybe this is misdirection again, but I don't think so. That Wanda's going to play a significant role in the future of the MCU, in the multiverse of madness, and moving forward. Because even though she's older, I think she's younger than like a lot of the other elders of the Avengers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't speak to her age as we start traveling around all these multiverses. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I honestly don't know, but yeah, she's OG X-Men. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you just take that into account, and then you start aging her pretty well. But yeah, look, Wong. I mean, I think the big elephant in the room is the fact that we now have evil Doctor Strange in a main live action timeline, not just in What If, where it was just kind of conceived as a character that could happen if we fuck up the timeline. I thought that was another one of the things that was brilliant about the No Way Home movie, is that there was a scene where Peter's basically like, yo, look, I'm trying to fix something. And we know the backstory from Doctor Strange and What If, and we're like, yo, he knows better than anybody that shit don't work. You know what I'm saying? And you wonder whether or not that Doctor Strange is the one from What If. But now we have evil Doctor Strange, which means that we can expect him not to be, not Dormammu, not any other, not the Watcher, but him to be his main enemy. And we're bringing back a lot of the original Doctor Strange characters. Doctor Strange, for me, Stephanie, was kind of like Hawkeye. Like, I didn't give a fuck about Doctor Strange. Like, he was, even though he's all over the Spider-Man comics, like him and Madam Web have these appearances where they just fuck up, Peter Parker's life. But it's just like, yo, he's magic. I don't care about magic, even though I know it's not magic. It's like, but now I'm starting to see how his existence in this realm kind of adds to his notoriety, so to speak. What say you? Are you looking forward to the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? Were you a WandaVision fan? What's up, Steph?
I am. I'm a big Doctor Strange fan. I like characters who are intelligent, and he's brilliant. I think what he does is cool. I don't know. I've always liked Doctor Strange, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
But look at that. It's unpredictable. Well, look. What else?
Let's talk about the return of Mordo.
Yeah, I guess. Please.
Just like, because we haven't seen him for a while, and
yeah, that was dope.
I'm just wondering, what version are we gonna get? Are we gonna get the the evil I need to take over and be the supreme, or are we going to get him, realizing he's made some mistakes and I need to help save the world type, which version are we getting?
I feel like it's going to be the "I told you so" version, because when they, when they went their separate ways at the end of Doctor Strange, Mordo was like, "Look, I don't like the way you're using this magic. It's not supposed to be used this way, and you're fucking shit up, and I can't be a part of it." And that's why he bounced. And I imagine he's going to be like, "Hey, I told you so." And we'll see what happens after that.
I told you so with cornrows. Evidently, he's got the same style as his dude from The Witcher. He came back. He definitely came back into this movie. I wonder if what about the ancient one? Will we see the ancient one in this movie? Will it be played by the same lady that played him in the first one? And also, I mean, Ned. Let's not forget, Ned now has Doctor Strange-like powers. Will Ned possibly play a small role? What will Wong now be, since he is now considered the main? What's his title again? The
Sorcerer Supreme.
The Sorcerer Supreme. Like, Wong has now gotten a promotion. Do we see now a new angrier Wong standing over your desk? Like, yeah.
Does Ned remember? Does Ned remember? And furthermore, does Doctor Strange remember?
Whew. Well, they don't remember who Peter Parker is, right?
But last thing they did with Peter Parker, he said everything that they did with Peter Parker, he's gonna like MJ and Ned were gonna forget about him, and like everything that they did together, all their adventures, everything. So yeah, that's part of it. He's not gonna remember.
Good point.
Yeah, because the whole MIT, the whole scene at in the coffee shop or the whatever. Basically, they were preparing to go to MIT. That was where their minds were. It wasn't like, oh, we just survived that, that terrible incident. I think when he asked about her head, she said, a scratch or I bumped it or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that, does Doctor Strange remember that Ned has powers? Does Ned remember that Ned has powers? Does Ned have powers, or does Ned only have powers with the ring? There's a lot of questions about, like that situation.
Did we see any hints of Loki in the trailer?
I don't believe so.
Because I heard somebody in the theater when this came on, somebody said I saw Loki, and I was like, I didn't see Loki, and I didn't see any trace of Loki. But this would be the place for Loki to rear his head, right? If there was.
I think that the person you heard was one of Yaz's variants that just so happens to like Loki as much as she likes Ultron. So I think they probably was in that. That's Loki.
I don't just be tripping about Ultron, and every time I tell y'all he's gonna make an appearance or some shit, he does. So I don't know, man. Like, you never know.
Fair enough. Well, it definitely looks exciting. I am going to predict that it's not going to do Spider-Man numbers. I can honestly predict that it's probably it's not going to be a major blockbuster. I think the next big blockbuster is the Batman in comic book realm. But as it pertains to Marvel, it may not be coming for quite some time because Spider-Man's going to suck a lot of the air out of the room for quite a while.
Can we bet something like significant on that? Because I could use some money.
Sure, I'll bet you a Metro card. I'll take you a ride to Penn Station, homeboy.
I like it. Good.
I'm with it.
I get you a week unlimited Metro card if Doctor Strange does not do box office blockbuster numbers.
Oh no. Oh, I am 100% confident Doctor Strange will do well, but it will not come close to Black Panther, Infinity War, Endgame, or Spider-Man No Way Home numbers. It'll come close to Venom numbers. Venom was the fourth grossing highest blockbuster of this year, despite how trash it was. So it'll do well because it's Marvel. But will it come close to the Mount Rushmore of Marvel movies, Black Panther, Endgame, Infinity War, and No Way Home as of right now? I don't think so.
It will absolutely do. The only thing that will stop it from not doing that is Omicron. That'll be like
the next variant,
or the next variant. Like, I truthfully, and you can agree or not agree, but the truth is, we waited a long time to get Marvel to get back into its groove.
True.
Marvel is back into its groove. With that being said, there is not one Marvel movie going forward that we will not pull up to the box office to watch. And all they have to do is continue to give us these great content, and their shit is gonna sell out just like all of this stuff did.
This is incorrect, sir. I hate to burst your bubble, and I wanted to leave on that note. But the fact of the matter is, that's asinine. Like every movie that Marvel. Listen, first of all, you got the whole Marvel versus Sony because Morbius is coming out, and Morbius is not going to do no kind of numbers. Like Morbius is going to do all right. It's going to do all right.
Again. I think you're wrong again, but we'll see.
Bro, Morbius is not going to. Yo, look, I can keep it real. I'm gonna pull some rank right here. I've been right about all this shit, yo. I was right about Eternals. I was right about Venom.
Morbius traverses multiple genres. So it traverses horror and it traverses also comic book. So all the people that love and have been waiting for a vampire movie are going to go out in droves to see this movie. Plus, all of the people that love comic books are going to go out in droves to see this movie as long as Omicron permits it. Like that's the only thing that's going to stop the success that Marvel, like I said, we waited for Marvel to get back in their groove. You know, every time you go away from the game for a while and you come back, you're a little rusty. And that was what they were, a little rusty. But Spider-Man shows us that, guess what? I might be feeling my groove. I might be getting that J back. Kobe. Kobe. You know what I'm saying? So
we'll see.
Just saying, man.
I mean, I will get you the same bus pass I get for Tyrone, if indeed this comes anywhere close to No Way Home numbers.
Oh, but just give me a pie. Give me a pie. I don't want to Metro Head. Just give me a pie.
There's 2 or 3 tiers here. There's the Avengers Infinity War tier, No Way Home. Then there's like the Venom tier. Then there's like the Ben Affleck Daredevil tier. I think that this tier is the second middle range is where we're gonna find Blade and Morbius. Don't get me wrong, I don't want them there, but I think that unfortunately these are inside baseball characters that we're not going to see the same level of success. So that's what that's all about. But you know, time will tell, right? Time will tell. Absolutely. And then we will, I guess.
So you said it's not going to do Venom 2 numbers.
No, it will be around that. It'll be around that.
That's around Venom 2 and Eternals, like Venom so 400 to 500 million
something like that. Opening weekend, a couple.
Opening weekend.
Yeah, a couple hundred opening weekend. We're not talking about 400 or 500. We're not doing Black Panther. We're doing a couple. Guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. The bathroom's calling me. Let's go ahead and run it. If anybody don't have nothing to say, nobody got nothing to say. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and dismiss. Lord, man, that crept up pretty quick. You got something to say, Steph? Okay, go ahead. Hey, everybody, make sure you be your authentic self. If you're not yourself, you're being fake, and everything. Make sure you Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all that good stuff, and everything. Let that geek flag fly.
Fighter 2, I just really hate Zangief, only Ken and Ra. You, I find it hard to beat. Blanca, keep a weak ninja hanging, and now Uncle album banging. If you negative in energy, then stay out the vicinity. Yeah.